104.7 FM, 890 AM. Download the Fox Sports KSAC app.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandma was with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Tell your friends. Grant's back. Grant Napear is back on the Sacramento airwaves right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst. K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento. Hello. Hello, Sacramento. Sacktown. And welcome in.
Grant Napear.
How you been? You know this guy.
It's your show.
So happy to hear you on the airwaves.
2+ decades on the radio with you.
Just the start of an incredible journey.
Now he's back on Fox Sports 104.7 FM and 890 AM.
3 to 6 every day. Fox Sports Sacramento.
The phone number?
916-779-0929.
His name? Grant Napear.
And a good afternoon, everybody. Yes, indeed, we got a little college basketball going on. The NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament, Round 1. I'm not trying to be a wise guy here. I'm not trying to be cynical. I'm not trying to be funny. Have you ever heard of High Point before? Seriously. The first upset of the tournament, a 12 beating of 5. High Point. I have no idea where it is. I couldn't tell you what their nickname is until today. I couldn't tell you what conference they're in. I don't even know what state it's in. High Point, a 12 seed, beats Wisconsin. That's right. Knocks off 5th seed, the Wisconsin Badgers. How about that? 83-82. Other finals, Ohio State and TCU, a good game. TCU wins. They knock off the Ohio State Buckeyes, a 9 beating an 8. Louisville takes care of South Florida, 83-79. Vandy over McNeese, Vanderbilt 78, McNeese 68. Nebraska finally gets a W, 76-47 over Troy. You got Duke, 6 better than Siena, a number 1 seed, 71-65. Games that are currently in progress. Arkansas is 20 better than Hawaii halfway through the second half. And Michigan State is having no problem with North Dakota State at the moment with 4 minutes gone by, or I should say halfway point now of the second, 69-49. So that has you updated. I'm not kidding you. Where's High Point? Is High Point North Carolina? Ryan, do you know where High Point is?
No idea.
Okay, is it North Carolina? Seriously.
I will double check.
High Point, North Carolina, right? Is that where it is? I've never heard of High Point. All right, let me ask you this while you're checking. Had you ever, before the tournament, before the brackets, had you ever heard of High Point?
Yes, because I'm a basketball junkie. I have heard of it. I just don't know where they're at.
All right, here we go. My help from all of our listeners. Thank you. It's about 15 miles south of Greensboro. There we go. High Point, North Carolina. Could it be our first real true Cinderella? Could be, right? Could be. That's what's the beauty of this tournament. You know, if they played Wisconsin 9 out of 10 times, they would probably lose. But not today. Not today. It's great. That is the beauty of the NCAA tournament. The beauty of it. Good stuff right there. Seriously. All right. I don't normally like complimenting this team, but I really have to. And what's going on right now in LA with the Lakers is pretty amazing. They beat Houston for the second time in a week. They are rolling. They are third in the West at 44-25. They've won 9 of 10. They've won 7 in a row. And whether you like the man, whether you don't care for the man, whether you think that he's the greatest player in the history of the sport, or he's second, or he's third, or he's fourth, whatever. What LeBron James continues to do at this juncture of his career, playing 34 minutes last night, scoring 30 points, 13 of 14 from the floor, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block. And again, I was blessed to announce his first ever NBA game. And Jerry Reynolds made a comment back then, in the middle of the game, that barring injury, we might be looking at a guy that's going to go down as the greatest player of all time. And again, I don't really want to get into whether his popularity has gone up, gone down, whatever. He's 41 years old. And what he is doing is absolutely remarkable. It's remarkable. And the Lakers with a 124-116 win. Now, that's the good news if you're a Lakers fan. The bad news is they may not be having anybody play in the upcoming game tonight in Miami against the Heat. I'm going to keep you updated on that in a moment. Another big development as it relates to LeBron James. Ryan, we've been talking about this. You've been talking about this. And you and I had a difference of opinion on this.
Yeah.
About a possible NBA expansion team in Las Vegas, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, LeBron James said last night he is not going to be part of any bid to get an NBA expansion franchise in Vegas. So if you believe him, and I don't know why he would say that, if he's not going to be involved in a possible ownership group for a NBA franchise in Las Vegas.
Well, you never know what to believe with LeBron, but to the other side of that coin, there's also been noise that he might try to create his own league to rival the NBA.
Yeah, that he has no chance of doing that, and it's stupid, and I don't even want to waste our time talking about that. But he says he has no plans to be part of the Las Vegas expansion.
Hold on. Why
team.
is it stupid?
Yeah.
You see the WNBA players doing it.
Because it's absurd. It is absolutely ridiculous. He wouldn't be able to generate the income. He wouldn't be able to generate the TV revenue. He wouldn't be able to lure players away from contracts that are paying them, Ryan, in the neighborhood of $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 per game to start up his own rival league to the NBA. It's stupid. These athletes and some individuals that think, oh, we can just, we're going to go on strike and we're going to start our own league and we'll be able to be okay on our own. You know what? It's nonsense. Unless you're a country like Saudi Arabia that has an endless amount of cash, okay, where you really don't have any economic limitations in any way, shape, or form, unless you're Saudi Arabia, where you're going to track the Bryson DeChambeaus of the world and the John Rahms of the world and, Dustin Johnson, you have no chance of that. It's stupid. It's absolutely ludicrous.
I mean, you just kind of made my point for me. I'm saying if he got in bed with the right people that have the right money, it's not that far-fetched considering the NBA product is bad. And you could even, with everything going on in college, what if you created a league that rivaled what college is doing?
Well, college is different. Now, I didn't say you couldn't do it in college. I think you could do it in college. I'm talking about the NBA. There's absolutely no way in the world. No way. Absolutely stupid. I don't even want to hear about it. College, I could see it happening in college. And the reason why I could see it happening in college is because the landscape of college sports is 100% different than it was just a few short years ago.
Yeah.
And you have a governing body in the NCAA that is very flawed. And so you could easily, okay, because money talks, and even though the name, image, and likeness is a huge part of college sports right now, it would be much easier, in my opinion, to raise capital to get a second league. I don't even know what you would call it, of 18, 19, 20-year-olds and rival college basketball. I could see you doing.
And rival the G League directly
and rival the G League. That is correct. By the way, speaking of the NBA, boy, how about if you're a Detroit Pistons fan now and you get the news on Cade Cunningham that he's got a collapsed lung and he's going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. I mean, we're running up against the start of the playoffs here. It's right now, March 19th?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Sham said that they're optimistic he might be able to come back in time for a playoff run, but that is just an injury. It's like Wemby's blood clot last year. You just cringe when you hear something like that. And with how well Detroit's been playing and him being at the center of it, you hate to see it.
Yeah, it's awful. It really is. I am not going to even speculate about what the impact of recovering from a collapsed lung is like, because I wouldn't even know how to begin. But this is the worst possible news. Well, let me rephrase that. He if he's back in time for the playoffs, then. But what would be the impact? What kind of shape's he going to be in? Exactly. What is it going to affect his breathing capacity? I mean, you know what I mean? I'm going on and on about this.
Yeah, it's not all that far away from what happened with TJ Watt. Now, different circumstances. Cade's happened on the court. TJ's in the medical training room. But you're right about conditioning. How do you stay in shape with something like that?
All right, Kings tonight are taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Malik Monk is available. No Nick Clifford tonight. And by the way, when you look at the standings right now in the NBA for worst record, the Indiana Pacers are 15-55. Sacramento is 18-52. The Wizards are worse with 2 fewer wins. They're 16-52. Brooklyn is 17-52. And the Kings tonight are taking on a Philadelphia team that also is decimated with injuries and got embarrassed in their last game Tuesday night against Denver. And I hate to say this, that you just do not want to win these games because you've got Brooklyn coming up on Sunday. And I can't even talk about Sunday's game, Ryan, because you never know in the NBA if the Kings are going to pull the plug on all their veterans. I mean, seriously, you just don't know. So I don't even know what to say other than tonight's game is a very winnable game, regardless of whether Nick Clifford's playing, regardless of the other injuries. Philadelphia's got very few talented players on the floor, and they got annihilated with this roster 48 hours ago.
Yeah, you're going to need a big one from VJ Edgecombe. A guy that's fun to watch or has been fun and had his name early on in the Rookie of the Year conversation. You know, those 2 Brooklyn games, assuming, let's say the Kings win tonight, those become like reverse play-in games, like playing for the lottery.
Yeah.
That is going to be absolutely huge. But I haven't looked at the number, but I think the Kings probably are favored tonight.
I haven't looked at the number either. I have not looked. I don't know. You really think so, huh?
I do. I would think the Kings are favored tonight.
Okay. All right. Again, we've got a lot going on here with the NCAA men's basketball tournament starting. And it looks like there will be no other upsets with the games currently going on. Arkansas is going to beat Hawaii. Michigan State's going to beat North Dakota State. Then coming up in a little bit, you've got this hour, North Carolina and VCU. Start of next hour, you've got Howard and a number 1 seed, Michigan. Also next hour, Texas, BYU, A&M, and St. Mary's. All right, these games are going to be starting. You got Pennsylvania and Illinois, St. Louis, Georgia, Gonzaga's in action, Idaho and Houston. So those are some of the games that are still to be played here on a Thursday. You think this is the best Thursday of the year on the sports calendar?
Hands down.
Yeah.
Hands
I would agree.
down.
Better than opening night, Thursday Night Football?
Yeah. Yeah. because you just have way more action. Start
of
the morning to finish. Duke got a run for their money today.
They got a lot of injuries.
They did, excuse me, not Fred Hoiberg, but Jerry McNamara, the coach of Siena. He played his starters all the way through. I'm pretty sure they played the entire game. So that was a fun one to watch. And by the way, the Kings are 2.5-point underdogs tonight.
They're dogs?
They're dogs.
Okay. Yeah, in that game you were talking about, that was a really nice effort by a 16 seed in Siena. That was a heck of an effort.
Yeah.
It really was. They played, again, as you said, they played 5 players, 40 minutes. That's amazing. They played 5 starters, 40 minutes.
Play your best players in the biggest game that they've ever played in. That's what he did. And at this point in the season, if you can't play 40 minutes, Yeah,
no, come on.
You can play 40.
Cam Boozer had 22 points, 13 rebounds in 39 minutes. So he basically played the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
And Caden Boozer also played 39 minutes.
Duke couldn't hit a 3 to save their lives in the first half. But you saw that coming. You knew Duke was going to.
Well, for the game, they were only 5 of 26 for the whole game from 3.
Good point. Very good point.
Yeah, I was watching and I was like, man, I thought I was watching the Kings there for a minute.
Well, you might be watching a King for a minute.
That's right. You're right about that. Oh, my gosh. Hey, DAS Mechanical. Boy, how about the weather, huh? Hope your air conditioning's working well. If not, or you're like, you know what? Call DAS Mechanical. They'll come out. They'll tune it up. You'll be good to go. And also keep in mind that DAS Mechanical is donating either a heating or air conditioning unit to an individual family in need. So whether you or someone you know, a veteran, needs a heating or air conditioning unit fully installed by DAS Mechanical, just go to dasmechanical.org, click on the 2026 HVAC nomination link, fill out a really quick form, and then maybe you or the individual that you nominate will be getting a heating or air conditioning unit from DAS Mechanical. Again, that's dasmechanical.org. Locally owned, family owned, serving Sacramento and Placer counties, HVAC service and repair specialists. They're awesome. They're great. And again, we're looking at this weather right now in March, and a mild summer a year ago. Now, we might just have the opposite. Make sure you're good to go for the hot days. And call and get in touch with DAS Mechanical and let them come out and make sure that your system is working efficiently. We'll come back. 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. We're going to come back and talk about a very ugly incident that occurred here in Sacramento last night at a sporting event that you hate to see. That was not good at the Sacramento Republic match. This is Fox Sports Sacramento.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll even come and pick up your car for free. And all you've got to do is pick up your phone right now and make a free call. Now is the perfect time to do something good for the vets. Give back to the vets right now for all they've done for this country. And your old car can really help them. So call the Veterans Car Donation Program right now for free pickup of your vehicle. Help the vets and help your taxes at the same time. Call right now.
800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. That's 800-598-0539.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor. or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
So last night, round one of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup in Sacramento, the Sacramento Republic won their match 2-0. And you hate to see this in any sporting event anywhere, but after the match, several players on the opposing team ended up going into the stands. Rhino, did you see the video of that? Man.
Yeah, the angle that I saw was difficult, but going off of what the announcers were saying and the tone in their voice, it did not look good.
Now, let's listen to that. Here are the announcers, and forgive me for not knowing their names, but here are the announcers describing the scene last night here in Sacramento.
Yabor and Lopez having talks at the end.
And that's the final here from Arnold Park. The score, Sacramento Republic.
But what we know for sure, this match is concluded. And Sacramento Republic have unseated El Farolito from the tournament again. And on to the next round. And now more going on in the stands. An absolute disaster occurring now in the stands. As the players from El Farolito have climbed up into the bleachers.
And then it got worse, right? I mean, I don't know what the impact of all of that was. It just, there's no excuse for athletes to be going into the stands. There's security. There are mechanisms to deal with that. Obviously, the most famous of all was the malice at the Palace. But yeah, you hate to see that, Ryan. There's just nothing good comes out of that. Nothing good comes out of that.
No, and granted, continued once they got the players out of the stands initially.
Well, there's a remarkable amount to unpack here, and surely we don't have the entirety of the story that occurred either.
Let's be very clear. Regardless of what goes on in the stands, you have no right as a player to step up in and attack a fan. That's what security is there for.
To provide that barrier.
Here's what has gone on. I have been yelled at inappropriately. I have had something thrown at me. You don't take it upon yourself. I'm telling you, this isn't over.
Oh, man. The player just jumped into the far side of the bleachers as well. Hopefully we've moved past the contentious portion of this.
Yeah. Again, it's unfortunate that it occurred. You'd hate to see it happening, but I just wanted to mention that. I wasn't following the match live. I saw the score on social media, and I wasn't even aware of what happened, Ryan, until today.
Yeah.
And then I saw the video and I watched it, and I was just like, you just hate to see that. You really do. There's just no need for it, as the announcer said.
Is there a nuance with this happening in a match that's in a tournament that's USL level, where these guys aren't multi-millionaires? These guys are not flying first class to the games. Does that make things all that more contentious because they don't have as much to lose?
I don't know. I've always boiled everything down to common sense. I don't put things in the dollars and cents. I put it in the common sense. And common sense is whether you are in Little League or you are a professional at the highest level or a professional at a entry level or in between. There's a right and a wrong, and you know what line not to cross, and you don't go into the stands and create a possible melee. That to me is just common sense.
Yeah. And as well as the Republic run things, my guess is they will look at this and do what they need to do to hopefully make sure nobody gets into the stands.
Yeah. I don't know what they can do.
I
don't know what they can do. I think that we have to also understand they do have security at the matches. I've been out there. You've been out there.
Yeah.
There is a presence of security. I think they do a very good job, actually, with security. But there's only so much that security can do. If it can happen at an NBA game and it can happen at an NFL game, which, by the way, Ryan, let's just call it the way it is. We don't see athletes in the National Football League going into the stands, although we had a pretty ugly situation this past year with DK Metcalf and a fan at the Lions game, but he didn't go into the stands. And it's much more difficult for an NFL player to get into the stands. You can do it, but it's, whether it's the Lambeau Leap or whatever. I told you about the game I was at Madison Square Garden in the late 70s. I think it was 78 or 79, when the Boston Bruins players went over the glass with their skates on. There's nothing security can do about that. So I think sometimes we have to understand that you can have security and you can have security everywhere. There's security all over presidents and world leaders that get assassinated, right? There's only so much security can do.
You know the irony of this? Like, out of all the athletes in the various sports that should not be fighting, it's soccer players, because you barely get touched and you're down on the ground for 2 or 3 minutes rolling around in pain. And then I'm going to see a soccer player get in a fight and take a punch and not waver. Like, come on. Don't let me see behind the curtain that much.
All right. On that note, we'll transition back to the tournament. How are you? Did you even look at your picks yet? I know I didn't take High Point. That I do know. I didn't look at anything else.
I did not take High Point either. I did have McNeese State over. Who did they play? It was Purdue? No, Vanderbilt. I had them over Vandy, but I think I'm doing pretty good so far. We'll check in on ours.
Yeah. I think that's the only game I got wrong was the High Point, Wisconsin. I got every other game right. I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
I think I got every game right. I did not take Ohio State because I hate Ohio State. So even if they had been a number 1 seed, I would have picked against them. So I know I got TCU. I'm almost positive I took Louisville. I know I took Vandy. I know I took Nebraska. I know I took, obviously, Duke. And I know I took Michigan State because I always go with coaches, and I have Tom Izzo going pretty far. I think I've got North Carolina. I know I've got Michigan. I've got BYU to beat Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I think I took St. Mary's to beat A&M a 7 over a 10. I have Illinois to beat Pennsylvania. And I think I took Georgia to beat St. Louis. And I have Gonzaga to win as well. And Houston.
Out of all the games that have been played today in what's really the first round of the tournament for most people, the best game I have seen is watching Miami of Ohio play last night. That was such a treat to watch basketball played that way, where it's a little touch of the Princeton movement. Everybody's constantly sharing the ball. Like, they get it. That was a very, very well done performance by Miami of Ohio. I am so glad.
That's
they
the
won that
Mid-American
game.
Conference for you. You know, that's the conference that Sac State football is going into, the mighty MAC.
Yeah, the MAC.
The MAC. Yes, the mighty MAC.
So do you hate Ohio State because of what happened to
Yes.
you at the Horseshoe?
Uh-huh. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
I was never an Ohio State fan growing up either. So before we even got to Bowling Green, I disliked Ohio State. I was never an Ohio State fan. Yep.
Who do you have as the champion in your bracket?
I took Arizona.
Okay.
How about you?
I went Houston.
Okay. Gotcha.
I think they'll get past Florida playing in Houston.
Okay.
We'll see. I guess I guess we're both not eligible anymore for Warren Buffett's mones.
No, I guess we're not, huh?
Yeah. Darn.
I wonder how many people picked High Point. There were some. 12s beat 5s almost. I have a 12 beating a 5 in the other region. I just can't remember which one.
Yeah,
I have a 12 beating a 5.
You know, another sneaky one is 14s and 3s. A lot of people don't think about those matchups, but I saw a thing on social media that there's only 3.3% of brackets remaining in the ESPN Tournament Challenge that are correct after half of a day. Yeah.
You know, the interesting thing about college basketball now is, with the exception of like your number 1 seeds, and we even saw Siena give Duke a run for their money, the parity in college basketball is there now. Yeah. I mean, you have the mid-majors, you have players that are staying, you have the transfer portal, which obviously changes everything. There's not a big difference between the top of the mountain and the bottom of the mountain when it comes to college basketball.
No, there's so much talent in basketball and so few spots to, earn as that talent. And here's the other thing. When you're on a smaller school, you're not just playing to advance in the tournament. You're playing to maybe make some money and move to another school with the transfer portal and get on their radar. So that always bodes well, too, for the smaller schools trying to play up.
I don't like on the YouTube page that we're streaming that we have an individual that says you wouldn't last 10 seconds on the pitch, and they're wrong, because I was going to make you my goalie. So you would last 10 seconds because you would be my goalie.
You don't think I could hold my own on the pitch?
No.
Come on.
No, I don't. I'm putting you in the goal.
All right. Well.
No, with your 2 hip replacements and your knees, no, I've got you in the goal.
All right. Well, can you at least put, maybe cut some of those pool noodles in half and put them around the goal posts in case I hit a post?
I'll do that for you.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's always my fear.
But I kind of agree with that individual that you wouldn't last 10 seconds. I kind of agree with that. That's why I have you in the goal.
Too much running. You're
my goal.
Perfect.
You're my goalkeeper.
I love it. Too much running.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
And so all you have to do over a span of a 90-minute match, I might call on you to make 2 or 3 saves, because that's all that you're going to have. Those are the only shots on goal you're going to have. So I've got to make sure that for those 2 or 3 shots on goal, you're good to go.
Better hope it doesn't go to PKs. You got to get it.
No,
you got to get it done.
If it's PKs, we're in trouble. I'm conceding the match.
You're conceding.
I'm conceding. I'm conceding it. Yes.
I don't think it would happen.
I am conceding the match 100%.
I could.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell the other team, hey, congratulations. Nice match. Good luck in your next round.
Too good. Too good.
916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. I just, I call it the way I see it. And I'm just telling you, we're conceding the match at that point. I think everyone that's watching and or listening can understand what that, Again, I always go back to what I love. Common sense. Okay? Common sense. Common sense tells me that, if it goes to penalty kicks and Ryan's my goalkeeper, we lost. Okay? I'm okay with that. I acknowledge the reality of the situation. I'm not going to try to hope for a miracle in on the pitch, like Al Michaels described the miracles on ice. No, I'm not going to do that. Just going to call it the way it is. Call it the way it is. Hey, real quickly before we go to the break, I wanted to ask you, do you think that Cade Cunningham missing probably the rest of the regular season is going to impact his MVP status? Because I think he's one of the real true leaders in the clubhouse.
He was the candidate that had missed the least amount of games.
Yep.
So we'll do the math and we'll see. Very well could. We're only talking about 17 games.
Yeah. He's, again, if you did not hear the news, he's out for a period of time with a collapsed lung. You know, collapsed lung just sounds so like, oh, you know what I mean? Like it's probably sounds worse than it is, although I don't think it's any picnic. And you talked about TJ Watt. Was it TJ Watt last year? And, you know, coming back from that, it just certainly is not anything that I would want to have, or you would want to have. I could tell you that. All right, we'll come back. Don't forget, we are going to keep you up to date on the NCAA scores if you're out and about and you want to keep updated. We'll have it for you. The Kings and the Sixers tonight. All of that and more right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
This is Kurt Bagelman. Does your business need more customers? If you said no, congratulations. If you said yes, then you need to consider advertising your products and services. People need to know you exist, and then why your business is worth considering to spend their money with. You also need to advertise to the right audience. For example, Sports Talk listeners have disposable income. They own homes, they're employed, and they earn six-figure incomes. And importantly, Sports Talk listeners listen longer, so your advertising message has more opportunity to be heard. Does your business need more customers? If the answer is yes, then give me a call to schedule a conversation. We'll discuss your objectives, talk about potential strategies, and also determine if Fox Sports Radio is a good station for you to consider. Call me, 916-779-0914. Radio gets results, and we are here to help. Call 916-779-0914.
You've been saying you're going to pay better attention to your home's honeydews. Check one off your list right now by calling Gabrud Services to schedule a 12-point inspection of your home's electrical system. The safe rule of thumb is every 5 years for an inspection. If it's been 5 years or more, call Gabrud's now. A qualified technician will provide a thorough inspection of the electrical system to ensure it's safe or alert you to potential problems. At Gabrud's, electrical work is all we do. We are the area's recognized experts for anything electrical, and our number one priority is ensuring your home and family are safe. You've been saying you'll pay better attention to your home. Stop saying it. Make the call to Gabrud's. Talk with a real person and schedule your 12-point inspection today. Gabrud's, locally owned for more than 30 years. G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabrud's. G-U-B-R-U-D-S. Gabrud's.com.
Investors, keep listening to learn how to get your free gold report. A currency crisis is upon us. The U.S. dollar has been the world's reserve currency for over 50 years, but that is changing. It's time to protect your retirement. Decades of reckless borrowing and spending have critically weakened the dollar. The U.S. has become the world's biggest debtor with over $35 trillion in debt. Plus, the dollar's become weaponized. Countries are dumping it. Investors who wait until it's too late could lose big. There is one safe haven: gold. Diversify your portfolio with a physical asset they can't take away. Call the Reagan Gold Group right now and ask for your free gold guide. Here's our number.
800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. That's 800-941-4184.
There's a great American pastime that the entire family can enjoy together, located right outside of Sacramento. The Golden State Shooting Center welcomes you. The Golden State Shooting Center is an 80-acre clay target shooting facility. It's the home of numerous youth sport shooting teams from the region. Over 1,000 high school students from Northern California are on sports shooting teams, and 10 of the Western United States' top shooting teams train at Golden State Shooting Center. New members are being accepted now. For details, visit goldenstateshootingcenter.com.
Brad Gazan, on Atlanta United, we know everyone has a ritual, a habit we never skip to clear our minds and elevate our performance. But what do you do to keep your head in the game? Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body. It's about taking care of your mind and mental health. Discover the resources you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Find resources at georgia.loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute, the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation, and the Ad Council.
That Michigan State game is now a final 92-67 over North Dakota State. Arkansas is a final now over Hawaii, 97-78. We'll keep you up to date on the other scores. 916-779-0929. And we say hello to Mac. Mac, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing good, Grant. You know what? You're the only person I could talk hockey with. And I wanted to share something that grinded my gears and get your take. So I'm watching, the game on TNT, and I mean this happens now way too often, where a defenseman breaks a stick, and now they got an odd man rush going the other way.
Yep.
I cannot understand. So I mean, you and I know the main goal for a defenseman to do what their goal is offensively is keep the puck in, and also maybe go back and forth to try to get the defense moving and get a good pass. Mostly you're going to get an assist. A good offensive defense is only going to get, 10, 15 goals a year? Why in the heck? Look, the guy who had the hardest shot I've ever seen was Al McInnes, the defenseman. And he used a Sherwood, and his stick never, ever broke. And I don't understand what it is with these modern players. Oh, God, yes.
Was he with the Calgary Flames, right? Yeah.
He was with the Flames. He also played with Pronger on the Blues.
Yeah, that's right.
But I don't understand why these modern day defensemen want to use these sticks with so much flex when your job, I can understand if you're a forward, but your job isn't to necessarily score. You want to maybe shoot low, get a tip in, or whatever. You're not necessarily trying to score. I don't understand it.
I've never talked to a defenseman about this. I can't answer that question, although I think when I watch hockey now, and I'm sure you would agree, I see more broken sticks now than really I ever remember in the past. So I will ask that question the next time I speak to my buddy George McPhee of the Golden Knights and ask him that, because it's never entered my mind before to ask that question, but you make a very good point.
It would think as a defenseman, I understand the forward, but a defenseman, the benefit outrisks the reward, if that makes sense. And one other thing that grinds my gears when I watch all the time, is sometimes you see these forwards, they don't want to block the shot, but they get their stick in the way and they tip it and they redirect it and they give up a goal. If you're not going to block the shot, give your goalie a chance. You got to get out of the way. So anyway.
That's reactionary. I don't know about that. I want to ask you a question. Yes or no? Sure. The Sharks are going to be in the playoffs. Right now, they're behind in the wild card. They're on the heels of Seattle. They're, 1 point behind. Are they going to be a wild card team? Or could they possibly even be a top 3 in the division, which is not out of reach?
It is my understanding that they have 2 games in hand.
Yes.
Over the teams that they're competing with in the wild card. I would have to say now they're on a. I would have to say because they have 2 games in hand.
Well, they have one game in hand. They have one game in hand of the 2 teams ahead of them. 2 games in hand over Utah, but I don't think you're going to catch Utah. But go ahead, 1 game in hand.
No, since you do have a game in hand, and since they've been, and I'm only saying this because they're consistent.
Yeah,
they've been consistent. I think they can. I think they will. Now, I'm also a fan, so my heart, where my heart is. But I think they can. I think they should. The one thing that just scares me, like they have good goaltending. They have really good goaltending, but they have no defensemen. Their defensemen are just.
It's their Achilles heel.
You watch the scores. They're giving up 4 goals a night, and it's.
Yeah. No, you're right.
That's the only thing that concerns me, is that they just don't have anybody on the blue line to help them. So, yeah, I think they can. I think they will. But if they get in, they're not going very far because they can't play defense.
Yeah,
So,
I don't dispute that. Mac, great call. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
take it easy. All right,
You
bye-bye.
too. All right, bye-bye. Good stuff. I always love talking hockey.
Nate,
So go ahead, Rhino.
We have an update on our bracket pool.
Yes. Yeah.
You are number 1. You are atop everybody right now with 70
And
points.
what do I get for that? Do I get a paper airplane flown in me from your room into where I'm at? What do I get for that?
Yeah, I'll make a little paper trophy or something like that for you.
So Napes is number 1. It took me about 90 seconds to fill that out last night.
You are number 1. I am dead last.
That just really
acceptable.
Dead last.
That's unacceptable. Thank you for, I'm just trying to pick up from your prize picks. We'll talk about that next hour because maybe the momentum's shifting here a little bit in the last 24 hours.
Osmosis. It's passed from this studio over to yours.
Yeah. Hey, that's all good. I need something good to happen to me. So I was talking on the show the other day about standing on the floor and having Jerry West come up to me and say something that blew me away. And I had never, ever, ever talked to Jerry West before. I've been in the presence of Jerry, but I actually got quite a bit of reaction from the listeners of this show. And I get all kinds of questions. And I love talking about these things because when you're in this profession, things happen to you that you just cannot believe. And I'm not talking about what goes on when the game starts, although there are instances of that happening too. I'll give you an example of that in a moment. You won't believe it. But like I have been in some circumstances or situations, not circumstances. I've been in some situations where it's a wow moment. I've always talked about sitting in the dugout in 1978 in Cleveland, the Yankees dugout, the Reggie Jackson year. And when I mean Reggie Jackson, I'm talking about, the great Yankee teams that won the World Series against the Dodgers in 77 and 78. And just sitting there hours before the game all by myself with nobody in the stadium. And the encounter that I had with the legendary Mel Allen, who for years was also the host of This Week in Baseball. How about that? Mel Allen. But like I've been so lucky and have had so many situations. I remember standing in the press room at Tiger Stadium in the early 80s when the Detroit Tigers won the World Series, when they started off 35-5. And I was at that game on a Sunday at Tiger Stadium, packed house, the old Tiger Stadium, Sparky Anderson, Lou Whitaker, Lance Parrish, Jack Morris, Dan Petrie. Like that was an incredible team. That was an incredible team. Alan Trammell. And before that game that was on NBC, Joe Garagiola and Tony Kubek are doing the game. Now, if you don't know the name Joe Garagiola, that would be the equivalent of like Bob Costas today when it comes to baseball, or Joe Buck, right? Like Joe Garagiola was baseball. Joe Garagiola was like, that was wow. Former MLB catcher. That was a wow moment. And I'm in the media room getting something to eat, and I've got the tray in my hand, and there's absolutely nowhere to sit because it was overflowing. And on a table to my left, there was one seat. And all of a sudden, I hear a voice, hey, you can sit here. And it was Joe Garagiola saying that I could sit in that seat at his table. And like for me, being very, very, very early in my infancy of my career, to be sitting in the media room at Tiger Stadium next to Joe Garagiola, having a little bit of conversation, not a lot, but was fascinating to me. Like, so, things happen. I've always talked about, like, things that you just can't believe. I ended up in the back of a taxi in Houston, Texas, after announcing a Raiders-Texans game with John Robinson. And John had been doing the TV for the Houston Texans. And I don't even know how it happened, but we ended up going to the airport together, and we were in the car for about 30 minutes. And I'm talking to John Robinson, the legendary coach, about his career. He's asking me about the NBA, and we just had an amazing conversation. It's the only time in my life I've ever been around John Robinson. It's the only time that I ever talked to John Robinson. And the chances of me being in the back of a taxi with John Robinson would be like zero. And yet it happened. And I've looked back at just little moments. I think about standing on the floor in Los Angeles for that game and having the logo come up to me and be so open about his comment. That would go in my book, by the way. What happened? That would if I write a book, that's going to be in my book, okay? Like it is a moment that I just can't even believe happened. Like it's just I mean, I can understand it if it were somebody else that made the comment that was made about a former player. But Jerry freaking West, the logo, right? The logo. And so, like, when I think back about telling that story and the reaction and some of the other things that I've had the incredible experience to observe, I was announcing a game. I'm not even going to let you know. Well, I will let you know. Well, you know what? I'm not going to let you know where it is because you could look it up and you might know who the referee was, and I don't want to get the referee in trouble. But DeMarcus Cousins was ejected on the road for a game. And he had been giving the officials a lot of the business, and he finally got ejected. And so there's a timeout on the floor, and the official is walking to the scorer's table. He may have just ejected DeMarcus, or it would have been quickly thereafter. And it was a long-time NBA referee. And I'm going to state this, and I normally don't. And the reason why I don't is I don't really care what your ethnicity is. But this official was black. And the reason why I'm pointing that out right now is I don't want you to even intimate that what I'm about to say has anything to do with race. And when I tell the story, you'll understand why I just disclosed that part of the story. So he was the crew chief. He had just ejected DeMarcus, or one of the other refs had. And he's walking to the scorer's table. It's now a timeout. And I got my broadcast headset on, and we have eye contact together. And I go like this. And he says, that boy needs a psychiatrist, okay, to me. And I start laughing because he rolled his eyes. I'm talking about a very well-known referee coming over to me. That boy needs a psychiatrist. And I just laughed. Again, like, where are you going to hear stories like that? Sitting courtside and being involved in moments. I've had so many moments that I've heard in conversations between coaches and referees. I talked to Olden Polynice about the Earl Strom comment to Dick Motta. Dick, shut up and sit down. I'm not throwing you out of the game. If I got to watch this crap, so do you. Like, where are you going to hear stuff like that? Right? Now, I know if you were sitting courtside and you would have heard that too, but like, I've been in some amazing situations like standing on the court, being up against the glass at Madison Square Garden, completely unexpected for a playoff game. Like, I'm like, what am I didn't have a press pass. I was in a jacket and I was dressed up because I was getting ready to go out with George after the game. And we're going to the spots in New York where you got to be dressed up. And so I'm all dressed up and they think that I'm like part of the New York Rangers. Seriously. And I'm standing against the glass. Nobody asked me what I'm doing. It's the playoffs. It's the freaking playoffs at Madison Square Garden. And I'm standing against the glass. Unbelievable. I'll have more of this, but I want to tell you about Village Financial Group. Buying a home, selling a home, looking for a home equity line of credit. Spencer at Village Financial Group is so good at what he does. Family owned, locally owned since 2000, and I've known him since 2000. And we talk about experience, expertise, a financing specialist, very creative with access to private money. Spencer's got it all. Call or text Spence right now at 916-805-4868. That's 916-805-4868. Or you could just go online to vfgloans.com. Check out everything about their business. And keep in mind, there were thousands of listings available for purchase. Kind of like a boutique shop, a white glove service. That's what you get at Village Financial Group. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. Hour one in the books. More stories, more NCAA basketball in hour two right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Summer is coming. Backyard parties, barbecues, good times with great people. Take your summer to the next level with an outdoor kitchen or fire pit from Custom Fireside. Custom Fireside has the largest inventory of outdoor kitchen options, fire pits, and fireplaces in the Sacramento area. If you missed us at Capitol Beer Fest, no problem. Now through the end of March, visit one of our 2 locations. Mention Beer Fest, and you'll still get Beer Fest savings. Custom Fireside, employee owned and operated in Sacramento and Elk Grove.
This weekend, Hot Wheels Monster Trucks is live at Cal Expo, but today you can see the all-new Rhino line in person at Elk Grove Chevrolet. It's free, plus you can win tickets and other official Hot Wheels swag, too. Come see Rhino line today, 4 to 6 p.m. at Elk Grove Chevrolet at the Elk Grove Auto Mall.
Call the good dudes at Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Homeowners, if you have an electrical project you need done, then you need the good dudes at Gabrudes. Family owned and operated for 30 years, Jay Gabrude and his team are the area's recognized experts for everything electrical, from the very basic like repairs, lighting upgrades, and whole house fans, to the biggies, panel replacements, EV stations, and backup generators. Gabrude's does it all and does it right the first time. They're actually the guys their competition recommends. Gabrude's. Expert, 5-star service, and always transparent, honest prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues. Visit Gabrudes.com or call 24/7 and speak with a real live person. Gabrudes. G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S. Gabrudes.com.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
I'm retired and worried about the cost of food, medicine, and rent. BenefitsCheckup.org connected me to an extra $1,000 a month. Best of all, it's free. Visit BenefitsCheckup.org today.
Supported by the U.S. Administration for Community Living.
Grant Napear is back every weekday afternoon, 3 to 6. This is Fox Sports, KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
I was just watching the post-game interview with the coach at High Point. I love him. I don't know anything about High Point. I don't know anything about that program. I love their coach. What a great interview. They beat Wisconsin, a 12 beating a 5, 83-82. Great job. Love it. Let's get to Al at 916-779-0929. Al, thank you for the call. What's going on, Big Al?
Mr. Grant Napear, the man, the myth, the legend. Yeah, I guess a school called High Point. You know, I had no idea where they were. I looked them up and I thought, wow. And those are the kind of fun things that happens in March Madness. Hey, Mr. Napear, do you remember, you mentioned the name, they're in the tournament. Back in the day, they had been absent for a while. This is the 70s. We were young guys with the great Eddie Sutton, the coach, before he moves on to Kentucky. Do you remember the triplets? Two of the three triplets play in the NBA and play for a while.
You know what, Eddie Sutton, what a legendary coach in that era that he was there. Outstanding. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
So they had Sid, Squid. I always loved this. Sid the Squid Moncrief had many good years. The Bucks.
That's right.
Stuff. Ron Brewer, another great player.
That's right.
And then Marvin. I think anyway. He didn't really make it. He did not make it. I love that. I didn't know I'm a huge UCLA fan because I grew up down in SoCal as a kid, in the Wooden era. But I love that team. Like 3-guard offense when everybody was playing classic 5 position up, 1-5, and everybody fit a spot. But man, those guys, speed, pressure, defense,
and guys that played 4 years in college. They didn't come out at age 18. Yeah. You had players that stayed in college, and it was great college basketball. Great. That was a great era of college basketball.
And no 3-point shooting, and so you had to score, and you could stall a little bit, although stalling really taken up. But yeah, it was just a great team. So when you said like you said to call on, if you remember this guy, do you have a classic memory or a favorite final or Final Four? I haven't heard you say if you did.
Well, there are two that come out to mind. I think when Raleigh Massimino's Villanova club beat Patrick Ewing in Georgetown, that was one of the great games of all time. I think NC State, when Jimmy Valvano won against Houston in Phi Slamma Jamma, I think those two national championship games stick out to me maybe more than any. What about you? Do you have a favorite?
I'm with you. I taped all of them, Greg. In the day of tape, young kid.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Scotch tape. I'm talking about beta when I recorded it. I had the final 4, just the last 4 teams for about 22 seasons. And I tape it every time. I just got excited. I go back and watch once in a while, but it's starting to denigrate the quality. But those two are great, especially when you go back and think of Jimmy Valvano, just the foundation and the cancer, all that. That's a great story.
Thank you.
My last last Bruin championship with Tyus Edney, I like that one a lot too.
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Al. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Yep.
And I had the absolute pleasure, and I don't know if you heard the interview. It was about a month or two ago with Jim's brother, Bob Valvano. I worked at ESPN Radio in the late 90s in Bristol on the weekends with Bob Valvano very often. We would have different hosts that I would be working with on the weekends, and I got a chance to meet some phenomenal people, Bob Valvano being one of them. And he used to love talking about Jimmy and love talking about college basketball. Bob is a college basketball junkie. He does the Louisville game still. He lives in Louisville, and he's a guy that I have the utmost respect for, and he's a great interview, and I really enjoyed having him on a couple of months ago right here on this show. But when you talk about Jim Valvano and that team and what they accomplished, truly, truly amazing. And I am very, very, very close with Spud Webb and Vinny Del Negro, who both played at NC State and have just phenomenal Jim Valvano stories. Just amazing. So that era of college basketball, pretty incredible. Ryan, as we sit here and talk about the opening day of the NCAA tournament, do you have a favorite final, a favorite championship game?
Man, that's a great question. I don't have one that comes to mind in particular. The Final Four game for SDSU just a few years back when Lamont Butler hit the buzzer beater to send him to the national championship game. That's probably my most memorable NCAA tournament moment.
I was at the NIT a lot growing up, which was always a huge event in college basketball and a huge event at Madison Square Garden. I was at a lot of college games. My dad would always take me and my brother to the ECAC Holiday Festival. A lot of times we were at St. John's games, the St. John's Syracuse games when Lou Cornacecca was the head coach of St. John's. Like, that was incredible. Like, in the atmosphere at Madison Square Garden, the atmosphere for college basketball at the Garden really is what the memories of Madison Square Garden. We can talk about the Knicks and the Rangers. And really, when you think about the history of Madison Square Garden in New York, it really is college basketball.
Well, that's you talk about that time period. Think about the purity back then. If you are a high school student that goes to college at St. John's and you find yourself walking onto the court at Madison Square Garden and playing multiple games there a year, that feeling's just so much different than it would be now for a lot of kids.
There's nothing like going to a St. John's Syracuse game, a St. John's Villanova game, St. John's Seton Hall, St. John's Georgetown in that era, John Thompson, Louis Cornacecca, Jim Boeheim, right?
Yeah.
Like the history and the longevity of the coaches at that programs, right?
Well, it used to be one of my, like, if you go back to the late 90s, early 2000s, the Big East tournament was one of my favorites to watch because it was played at Madison Square Garden.
The best.
It was just special. And all those coaches, many of those coaches that you were talking about, still coaching for their teams.
My dad used to tell stories of going to Madison Square Garden as a boy and being able to buy a ticket for a couple of cents and watching like a quadruple header. Like, you could go to Madison Square Garden and there would be 4 college games, one right after another, and some of the great colleges. And he used to talk about going to these types of sporting events all the time. And then as he got a little bit older, you know, some of the tremendous college basketball rivalries, doubleheaders. We were always at doubleheaders at the Garden. I can't even tell you how many times I was at Madison Square Garden as a kid, and it was a doubleheader of college basketball. I mean, it's great. The Holiday Festival, doubleheaders. It was great to sit there and you know that you're going to watch two really good college basketball games.
I just think it's insane that you grew up there. That was like your home arena, right?
Yes.
You went to so many events, but yet you still understood how special that building was.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, walking into Madison Square Garden, I mean, I can't even believe my childhood, because when you're really young, you don't appreciate it because you don't have the knowledge to understand the significance. Okay. But like, when I think about being at Yankee Stadium as a boy to watch Mickey Mantle play in person, when I think about watching Jim Brown come in as a member of the Cleveland Browns and watch him play at Yankee Stadium, when I think about watching Roger Staubach, when I think about watching Johnny Unitas, when I think about watching Y.A. Tittle, when I think about like watching some of the greatest athletes to ever play in their respective sport, and then at Madison Square Garden, I watched Bobby Hull play. I watched Bobby Orr play, right? I watched the Espositos play. I watch Guy Lafleur play. I watch some of the Bobby Clark. I watch, like, I look back on that. I can't believe it. Like, I honestly can't believe it that, number one, I grew up in that area. And number two, that my dad had such the love of sports that he had and spent every extra nickel that he had on taking us to games. My dad didn't have a nice car. He didn't have a nice clothes. He has to wear a suit every day to work, always had a tie, always was dressed up. That was his job. He had his own insurance business. I don't ever, ever, ever recall my dad leaving the house without a jacket and tie on. Not once. I don't ever remember that as a kid. Had the same clothes for years and years and years. Same car for years and years and years. Didn't spend money on anything other than his family and for us going to games. And that was my childhood. I was at hundreds and hundreds of games growing up as a kid. Professional games, college games, high school games. We used to go and watch college basketball on a Tuesday night at Kings Point, right? At the Coast Guard, and we would run into Dick McGuire, Al McGuire, and Frank McGuire. Dick was everywhere, scouting, one of the great names in college in the sport of basketball. And we would be sitting there talking to Dick McGuire, like some of the stories. Like it's truly unbelievable. I was blessed, very, very blessed. All right, let's get to some phone calls with Austin. Hello, Austin in Rockland. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Grant?
What's going on?
Do you have a specific sporting event that has been your favorite that you either attended or called?
That's a fabulous question. My greatest memories of being at a sporting event, there isn't just one over the course of my life, because I've been so blessed to be at so many, but it would have to be following the teams that I grew up loving, being at the Super Bowl for the first time in 1987 when the Giants beat Denver, being at Game 7 at Madison Square Garden when the Rangers beat Vancouver to win their first Stanley Cup in 40 years. Those two would be right at the very top of the list, along with being at the Super Bowl in Indianapolis when the Giants beat the Patriots with my two boys, Trent and Chase. I think of all the sporting events that I've been to, those three jump right out at me. But then I think about being at the Milrose games at Madison Square Garden and watching Marty LaQuarrie win the mile on the indoor track. And I know a lot of people listening don't even know who Marty LaQuarrie is or was when he was in college, but he was a household name back then. And in the mile, everyone wanted to watch Marty LaQuarrie. I can only tell you there are too many to name. And then professionally speaking, I mean, I've had the unbelievable, blessed life of calling some great games, both in Sacramento and outside of Sacramento. And to be honest with you, my most memorable games, unfortunately, are losses. You know, I did the Game 4 Robert Horry shot in L.A. on radio by myself. I mean, that to this day is the most painful experience I've ever had as a broadcaster. And what was amazing about that experience, and I'm not bragging about this, but this is what's amazing. You got to understand, this was a different era. And in 2002, when I was announcing that Game 4, when I got back to Sacramento, because I announced both Game 3 and Game 4, Sacramento won Game 3, and the Game 4 was the Robert Horry shot. And I literally I was told by people that at Little League games, that they stopped a Little League game and put the radio on so that everybody could listen to the Kings and the Lakers of the game that I was announcing. I couldn't, I go, whoa. He goes, no, we stopped the game. The game was stopped. The game was stopped. And everyone was listening to you on the radio at the Little League game. It's not like you had a phone where you could watch the game on your phone. That didn't happen back then. So, like, I've been, that gives me goosebumps when I think about that. The amount of people, that was Memorial Day weekend, the amount of people that were listening to those games on radio on Memorial Day weekend, both Game 3 and Game 4, to this day, I know for a fact, without even having any data in front of me, were the largest audience that I have ever had in my life for announcing a sporting event. And to hear stories like that gave me chills because I was just like, wow. I've been, the Klay Thompson 37-point quarter. Like I could name a lot of them. I can only tell you, Austin, I've been very fortunate and blessed in my life to be at a lot of great events and announce a lot of great events. I've done the NFL. I've been blessed to do the NHL to fulfill a childhood dream. I have no regrets in my career. I don't have any regrets in my career. If I could go back and do it all over again, I probably wouldn't change one thing. Not one thing.
Do you have ambitions to get back into play-by-play?
No. I at this point in my life, I'm really happy doing what I'm doing. If an opportunity presented itself, I would look into it. And quite frankly, I think at this point in my life, because I'm so happy doing what I'm doing now, other than hockey, I don't think I would get back into it. I can't say never. I would never, wouldn't, but other than maybe an opportunity to announce hockey, I probably would pass on it. Probably. Not 100%, probably.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, growing up, being a Kings fan in that, the early 2000s, your voice is what I think about when I think about Kings basketball in Sacramento. So, it's been a pleasure, and I'm glad to have you back on the radio.
Thank you. I appreciate you listening to the show. Take care. If I could go back and do anything differently in my career, I probably would have preferred to do radio play-by-play my whole career instead of TV play-by-play, because I'm cut out more for radio. For those watching on the stream, you look at this ugly face, that tells you why. But radio has always been and I'm speaking for most of the people in my industry. I've had the Alberts on, Mike Breen. I've had Ian Eagle, who still does both NFL play-by-play on TV and radio. I've talked to Kevin Harlan about this. Kevin, by the way, will be a guest on one of my upcoming shows, who does a phenomenal job, who also does the Monday Night Football package on the NFL, including the Super Bowl for radio. That's why we got in this business. All of us got into this business as radio broadcasters. And our love, and I'm speaking for almost everyone in my profession, the love of broadcasting emanates from radio, not TV. And we all dreamed of being the next Chick Hearn, the next Marv Albert, the next Ernie Harwell. We always wanted to be the next Vin Scully. Radio, the beauty of radio, bringing our transistor radios to school and sneaking into the bathroom as a fifth grader so he could listen to the playoff game that began at 1:00 in the afternoon. Like, that's what our life was like back then. How can I listen to the game on radio? How can I do it without getting caught? How can I put that little tiny earpiece in fourth grade without having to go up to the front of the class and get my knuckles smacked with a ruler? Like, that's what our life was like back then. The baseball playoff games were during the day. During the day. The first World Series game against the Cincinnati Reds in 1977. Yankees, Reds, Don Gullett. I'm like the biggest Yankee fan in the world, and I've got a high school football game on a Saturday against Berner High School with Henry Fields, the guy that comes out of the huddle, and he's so big and so dominant, and I'm playing defensive tackle, and I'm like, oh, my God, I'm going to get killed. And he gets into his stance, and I can't even see the quarterback or the running backs because he's so big. He ended up starting the next year at Purdue at left tackle. I went to the Michigan-Purdue game the following year. I'm at the Big House, and here comes Henry Fields out of the huddle for Purdue as a freshman. I'm like, oh, my God, I went up against that guy last year. And the Yankees are playing the Cincinnati Reds in the middle of my game, and I'm like, good Lord. Larry, you want to talk about painful. It was painful because I was getting destroyed by Henry, and it was painful because the Yankees ended up getting shut out, and I couldn't watch the game.
It's a double whammy.
Oh, my gosh. You had a whammy last night in a negative fashion with your prize picks. So, like, you finally And you went for it. So I got to give you credit. You went for the gusto with your 6 pick.
Yeah.
You went for it. You rolled the dice. You know what? Because you've been so hot. You've been on fire. You've been on absolute fire. But you got a little carried away last night, and it came up and it bit you.
Hey, you know what? Scared money don't make money. That's the way that I think about it, Naves.
No wonder I have no money. Thank you. You just explained it to me.
Oh, my goodness. Plus, I also didn't want to get investigated. They may have thought I was up to something shady. You know, I got to make it look regular.
Yeah.
So, but hey, no better time, seriously, to join me and millions of other users on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy site, especially with March Madness in full effect. The great thing about Prize Picks is you can pick from the Kings. You can pick from maybe tonight the Sixers. You can pick from a college team today on their player stat predictions. You pick 2 to 6 players, choose more or less. And that's it. You let the guys go to work for you, and it's a ton of fun. You can post your picks, trade your picks with your friends, let them see what you're doing. Also, if your lineup's doing well, you can get early payouts. So a lot of fun tonight. I am going with the Sacramento Kings, more points than the Philadelphia 76ers. Wow. We're going to get on track with that tonight. But hey, join me. You can take my picks. You can fade my picks. Just join me on there. Download the Prize Picks app and use the code RYNO50, RYNO50, to get you $50 in free play after you play your first $5 lineup. Win or lose, you'll get $50 in free play. I promise you, you won't regret it. Come have fun with me and come make some money with me. Maybe show me the way. Maybe fade me. Do whatever, but make sure first you download the Prize Picks app and use that promo code RYNO50, RYNO50, to get $50 in free play after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Let's get right tonight again.
Yeah, let's get right tonight. Update on the North Carolina VCU game. It's 24-18, 7:45 left in the first half, North Carolina. All right, we'll come back. Phone calls and more stories. We'll reminisce. 916-779-0929. The Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports, Sacramento.
Downtown Ford Sacramento welcomes you with literally acres of new and Ford certified pre-owned vehicles on site. You can start planning a road trip up into the snow now because Downtown Ford has the vehicles to get you there. And our top-notch service team will keep it running perfectly as long as you own it. Cars, trucks, SUVs, and fleet vehicles. Downtown Ford Sacramento. Open daily on Howe Avenue next to the How About Arden Shopping Center.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll even come and pick up your car for free. And all you've got to do is pick up your phone right now and make a free call. Now is the perfect time to do something good for the vets. Give back to the vets right now for all they've done for this country, and your old car can really help them. So call the Veterans Car Donation Program right now for free pickup of your vehicle. Help the vets and help your taxes at the same time. Call right now.
800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. That's 800-598-0539.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First, drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips. Because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Kings and Sixers tonight, which means we will have a post-game show. Jerry Reynolds, Ryan, and Sacktown, myself, over on YouTube and X, right after the Kings and the Sixers. And then they close out this long stretch of home games in the month of March with the Brooklyn Nets. Gosh, what do you think the attendance is going to be for that game on Sunday? 8,000 maybe? Seriously. I'm not talking about the announced attendance. I'm talking about the actual attendance. I can't imagine that's going to be very good. That's wow. Would you go to the Kings Brooklyn game on Sunday?
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You, based off of highlights and whatnot, and what I told you, do you think there will be more people in the building for the rest of the season than we saw for the San Antonio game?
No, absolutely not.
I think that was the I think
Unless
that was the peak.
One caveat. If Steph Curry's playing with the Warriors when they come in the last week of the season, yes.
Very good point. Very
I think
good
if
point.
there are a lot of Warrior fans in this area, you know what happens when the Warriors play? They got meaningful games. If Steph Curry is playing, I believe that will surpass or equal the crowd that we had 2 nights ago.
Okay. Yeah. I think Brooklyn, it's going to be lean. There's so many other things going on. You have nice weather. Also, it's going to be the tournament determine the Sweet 16. So, yeah.
Hey, so speaking about college basketball, so I've talked about a lot of my stories. So at San Diego State, you were around Steve Fisher, and I was around Steve Fisher. And I got to tell you, I've been blessed to be around great coaches like Pete Carrill, and I'm going to add Steve Fisher to that list. I love talking to Coach Fisher when he was an assistant with Sacramento. I had so many phenomenal talks with him. What was it like from your perspective being around him? And what was it like when his former players would come and visit him? Because you probably heard some things and were in the presence of some great stories.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. I mean, Coach Fisher started off every season before practice kicked off, and he would have us all out to his home for dinner. And it would be catered, and his home is up on the hill overlooking Del Mar and the racetrack. And you felt like family with him. And he had a way about communicating with basketball where he could put very complicated things into a very simple message. He could tell you what you need. And the other thing that I really learned about Coach Fisher was he had no ego. There was no ego there because Brian Dutcher, who succeeded Coach Fisher, they were equal partners, just as it seems they kind of are today with Coach Fisher behind the scenes. But to see the love that Jalen Rose, a lot of the Fab Five guys coming back anytime they possibly could to see him, to see the genuine relationships that they made a point to come see him and to come spend time with us. It just showed you there's player coach relationships like, oh yeah, you were my coach. And then it's like, you really did something for me. But then
I love that.
There's also
love that
the oh my gosh, this is Steve Fisher.
Yeah.
And we'd see Bill Frieder all the time at practices.
Bill was a piece of work, boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. I was around Bill Frieder. I was around Bill Frieder when he coached at Michigan before Steve. And that was when I was covering Illinois basketball.
Yeah.
When you had Bobby Knight and Lou Henson and Gene Cady, right? Bill Frieder was a firecracker, and I got to know Bill very well. And Bill's personality was like an M80 going off when he got mad. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. And Coach Fisher, and maybe I already said this, he treated the team managers the exact same way that he treated the star player. You were part of the team. You were part of the Aztec family. And you knew at that point, even though we weren't great, that something greater was being built beyond us. But funny story. So one of my first practices, I'm standing there and, there's a rule. You don't bounce the ball when practice is going on, especially if coach is talking.
Sure.
And, you can still do little things. You're spinning the ball with your finger, whatever. So just kind of hanging out, waiting, had not been called in because I walked on and I was lucky enough to get retained. And they're like, well, we'd like to have you as a practice player, but, we'll have you do whatever we can do. And so hopefully at one point get you to dress. And so I think it was my second or third practice, and I had not been called into like an actual 5-on-5 drill. And coach looks over, and I'm standing with the ball in my arm, and he goes, "Jared!" And I'm like looking around because there's a guy named Jared who also walked on. And he goes, "Jared!" And he's just staring at me, but yelling, "Jared." Now, Jared had not been cleared by the NCAA yet, so he was not on the court. And so finally, Coach Fisher comes stomping over, "Jared, get in there." And he comes and pulls my jersey, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get cut. He was talking to me, right? And so his son, Mark Fisher, who was on the staff, comes over and goes, Coach, his name's Ryan. And he goes, "I know that's Ryan." Just like, all right, good to go. Like,
I love it.
But yeah, no, good stuff.
Back in that era, we talk about college basketball with the tournament going on. So when I was covering Illinois during that period, Roy Tarpley was on Michigan, and Steve Alford was on Indiana, and you had Wayman Tisdale, different conference at Oklahoma, but Oklahoma and Illinois played on national TV in back-to-back years, and that's the first time I ever talked with Wayman. But Illinois was a top 10 team, and Lou was a great coach. But almost every game, was the game of the week in that conference. If you were going against Bill Frieder's Michigan team with Roy Tarpley, and I think it was Robert Tractor Trailer, and some phenomenal teams, Rhino.
Yeah.
And Steve Alford, and Illinois had some tremendous players. Those were some of the fondest, being at the Big Ten games, being at Illinois for the games on NBC, it was phenomenal.
This is big time basketball. I mean, that was big time, pure college basketball.
Yeah.
Nothing like
I got to stop going for walks before I do my show. I've got these. You got allergies in this area? Does everyone that lives here have allergies?
This is about the time of year, maybe a little bit early. Well, you got to remember yours are worse because you have the Westbrook allergies as well.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. That is an ailment that I have really not been able to shake yet.
I don't
normally go back. I don't normally go back and watch my work, but I watched that, and even and I will tell you, I've watched that 3 or 4 times. And, you don't normally laugh when it's yourself, but I was like, I had tears coming. I'm like, that was hilarious, wasn't it?
It was really good.
We ought to just cut that and make it into when things are going rough, like when the Kings have lost 50 in a row, or when they get screwed and get the 7th pick this year instead of the 1st pick.
Yeah.
We ought to just put that on and let people go laugh, right? So that they can feel better.
Yeah. We that's an interesting one because it was such a good rant, but there was also the levity within it. When we do the dandies, I don't know if that's going to be funniest moment of the year on the show, if it's going to be best rant, maybe it'll have its own category moment of the year. But yeah, it will be involved in the dandies.
It was not just one sneeze. It was then 60 seconds later, the second one. You're killing me, Westbrook. You're over here killing me.
Your voice is starting to crack a little bit. You're trying to get your nose clean. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if I could throw a tissue through the glass right now, I would.
Was that hilarious or what?
It was good radio and video.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
What's wrong with me?
But we only have
the reason why I asked you that, is we're here and everyone's kind of dialed in to what's going on in the NCAA tournament the first day. Michigan, by the way, and Howard have started a 16 versus a 1. And then Texas and BYU in just a little bit. Then it's A&M and St. Mary's. St. Mary's is a team we don't really ever talk about, and we should.
Yeah.
They just have a great basketball program and a tremendous tradition with a tremendous coach.
Yep.
You know what? I love talking and watching St. Mary's.
Randy Bennett is proud of what he built. It continues to get stronger. I love that program. And that's why when you see them go against Gonzaga, it's a great matchup. Yet you never hear St. Mary's that much. But yeah, great program.
I love talking about them. And I picked them in my
I did too.
first round today. You have St. Mary's, or do you not remember?
I have St. Mary's. Yes.
Yeah.
I have. Did
Absolutely.
I put? I might have put Santa Clara through as well in the first round. So
Okay.
hey, last thing on Steve Fisher
Yeah.
that really hit me, and I should have said this earlier, is with Bill Frieder, and here's the bigger name, Bill Walton. The respect that those men had, and even the players for Coach, that told you everything that you needed to know. Genuine respect, picking his mind. It was just amazing.
Bill loved, and lived for it to talk basketball with anyone. But when you were a person of great achievement, meaning you've won championships, you've won so many games, Bill wanted to get inside your brain and find out how you did it and what was your secret and what made it work. I mean, his John Wooden stories are legendary, but I was around Bill a lot. And when Bill would talk basketball with the Steve Fishers of the world, I'll tell you, Bill Walton and Pete Carrill talking on the bench, that was fascinating to me. And I would just eavesdrop. And the conversations about the intricacies of the game, but the simplicities of the game were fascinating for me to listen to with a Bill Walton and a Pete Carrill. Fascinating to me.
Can't imagine.
I mean, fascinating. Something I'll never forget. The great late Bill Walton. Still can't believe that he's gone. I was thinking about Bill last evening when I got off the show because I was flipping around the TV channels and I saw Bill on my screen for a couple of seconds, and I don't even know what it was in reference to. And I sat there and I'm like, wow, he's not listening. Like, I still can't believe that we lost Bill. Bill Walton to me, Bill was just always happy, right? Bill was just always a vibrant personality. I never once saw a Bill down when I was around him. Not once. The guy was just always happy. And I remember being at your alma mater at San Diego State at the Kings training camp on the campus of San Diego State. And out of nowhere, here comes Bill Walton in his bicycle gear.
Oh, yeah.
On his bike. He had just, I was literally
such a big bike. That bike is huge.
Oh my gosh. I was standing outside of a on-campus like cafe or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had just come out with a drink. And Bill pulls up on his bike. And you're right. The bike looked like, I mean, it was so big. And Bill is just dripping sweat. And Bill's got the bike shoes on, right? Where you got to be careful.
Uh-huh.
And Bill just gets off the bike and walks in to this cafe to order like something to drink. And he's dripping with sweat. And I'm like, Bill, don't fall, man. You know, because, you know, those are very slippery when you're on like tile or
and
whatever.
they have spikes on the front of
Yes,
them.
they have spikes on them. And he, you know, Bill's just bigger than life. And everyone's looking at him. And I'm talking to Bill. And literally, he's just completely dripping with sweat. You know, Bill would go on 70, 80, 90, 100 mile an hour, 100 mile long rides. Bill was crazy.
It was the only thing that he could really do that was athletic, that kept him out of pain and actually helped
That's
him
correct.
a little
That
bit.
is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. And he would go up and down Highway 1 at times. And Bill was just, I love Bill. I just can't believe he's not with us anymore.
Well,
All right, we'll come. Yeah, go ahead.
Did I tell you the story about, Chris Walton was on our team. And so the moment that I met Chris, it was actually, you know what? I'll tell you after the break.
Okay, sounds good. We'll do that when we return right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
This is Kurt Bagelman. Does your business need more customers? If you said no, congratulations. If you said yes, then you need to consider advertising your products and services. People need to know you exist, and then why your business is worth considering to spend their money with. You also need to advertise to the right audience. For example, sports talk listeners have disposable income. They own homes, they're employed, and they earn six-figure incomes. And importantly, Sports Talk listeners listen longer, so your advertising message has more opportunity to be heard. Does your business need more customers? If the answer is yes, then give me a call to schedule a conversation. We'll discuss your objectives, talk about potential strategies, and also determine if Fox Sports Radio is a good station for you to consider. Call me, 916-779-0914. Radio gets results, and we are here to help. Call 916-779-0914.
Just outside of Sacramento is a place where families build friendships that last a lifetime. The Golden State Shooting Center is a clay target shooting facility. It's the home of numerous local high school and youth sport shooting teams. Skeet and trap shooting is a safe, exhilarating sport. School team members can compete for numerous college scholarship opportunities. Teams are being formed now, and new members are welcome. Call the Golden State Shooting Center for details or visit them online at goldenstateshootingcenter.com.
Homeowners, for any electrical project you need done, trust the good dudes at Gabroods. Locally owned, 5-star service experts, always transparent prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues. Call Gabroods or visit Gabroods.com. G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Downtown Ford Sacramento welcomes you. With literally acres of new and Ford-certified pre-owned vehicles on site, you can start planning a road trip up into the snow now because Downtown Ford has the vehicles to get you there. And our top-notch service team will keep it running perfectly as long as you own it. Cars, trucks, SUVs, and fleet vehicles. Downtown Ford Sacramento. Open daily on Howe Avenue next to the How About Arden Shopping Center.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Get the best. Bridgestone tires are engineered to keep your world moving, and that's what really matters. Now through March 31st, buy a set of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires and get $80 back on a Bridgestone prepaid MasterCard. Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. For the best selection in Bridgestone tires, get to Expert Tires and Brakes at 5810 Auburn Boulevard. Expert Tires and Brakes. Save big and get their 60-minute install guarantee. Expert Tires and Brakes, 5810 Auburn Boulevard. That's Expert Tires and Brakes.
I love the exercise classes at the senior center, and I love eating healthy, but it can be expensive. BenefitsCheckup.org connected me to programs that help me pay for groceries. Visit BenefitsCheckup.org today.
Supported by the U.S. Administration for Community Living.
Back with you here on Fox Sports Sacramento. We were talking about the great late Bill Walton and your stories. Of course, I got to know Luke very well when he coached with Sacramento. But what about being with your story about Chris?
Yeah, so Chris was great. So we had this little thing at our on-campus apartment. They called them the VAs, Villa Alvarado. And that's where they put me, 2 of the stars of the team, and one of the other guys that was a walk-in. Our neighbors were Kirk Morrison of the Raiders, and now he does a lot of the broadcasts.
Great.
But there was this rule that the upperclassmen and the seniors, they would come over and throw a party at our place, and it was an on-campus apartment. So the rules to have a party there, it's unheard of. You just don't do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But sure enough, Tuffy, as we called him, Chris Walton, he's leading the way, and this party breaks out at our place. Couches are on the balcony. And anyways, I get called into Coach Fisher's office, like maybe 4 or 5 days later. And he gives me, Ryan, I expected so much more. You're my eyes and my ears, And I'm like, wait, I'm in trouble for this. I was trying to get people out. So he goes, you need to go talk to Chris. And I'm like, okay. So I go and I had to give Chris something too, but Chris happened to be at Bill's. And Bill had a place on the ocean.
Yes.
And this was coming after the 2001-2002 Kings series. So my freshman year in college was the year after the Lakers had beat him in the Western Conference Finals. So once I got comfortable with Chris, I was finally like, dude, what's up with your dad? Like, why does he hate the Kings? Because a lot in the national broadcast, it felt like he had it out for the Kings. I felt that way.
Yes,
And
everyone thought that way.
And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, did you not watch he hates the Kings. Like, I'm going to ask your dad what his problem is with the Kings. And so I go and I think I'm just going to drop something off to Chris. And he goes, Bill's here. Why don't you go ask him your question? And I'm like, okay. And he goes down that way. And so long hallways, Bill's in the office. He's got a paper. He's reading. And I was like, Mr. Walton? And he goes, yes. And I'm like, and he kind of peeks over the paper. And I was like, I'm Ryan. I'm one of Chris's teammates. I just had a quick question. When you were doing the broadcasting for the Kings and the Lakers, did you not like the Kings? And I'm trying to do it as politely as possible. Ryan, take a seat, Ryan. And I sit down, and we don't talk about anything with the Kings and the Lakers. It's about 5 or 6 minutes about life, everything else, nothing about the Kings or Lakers. He didn't think anything of it. And I'm like, okay, thank you, Mr. Walton. Have a great day. And I go to walk out the door, and he goes, Ryan, wait. And I'm like, okay. He goes, tell your parents I said hello. And I'm like, you haven't met my parents. And it's just like, as I got to know Bill, that's just like Bill, like the basketball part of it, whatever. He's just that, whatever was on his mind, he would share with you. But if you did get into the basketball part, simply amazing. But as soon as I spent time around him, I knew it was nothing personal when it came to the Kings and the Lakers. But it was quite the moment. The whole thing about telling my parents hello.
That's hilarious.
I was like, oh my gosh.
Like, Bill's being in presence of Bill Walton. And I've been very open about this. I think the way the Kings treated Jerry Reynolds during that time was horrible. When they had Bill join us in the broadcast booth for select games. And to Jerry's credit, he was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Because a 3-man booth with Bill Walton's impossible. And I say impossible knowing full well he worked for years with Steve Snapper Jones and Marv Albert and or Bob Costa. So I get that. But, they made it work. Bill in a 3-man booth with me and Jerry, it was unfair to Jerry. Jerry and I used to talk about it at length. As much as I love Bill Walton, and I love the man dearly, I was not happy with it because it meant Jerry was not going to be on the telecast for the games that Bill was doing. And I thought that was wrong. And it bothered me because my job is to have the best possible telecast that I can do, the best possible job that I can do. And yet I almost felt like I was betraying Jerry because that's the foundation of what we had together. Jerry is family to me. I know he's family to you. He's family to a lot of people. That was a really difficult time for me because I know Jerry was not happy with that. And yet I was very conflicted because I wanted to do the games with Jerry. Jerry needed to be doing the games with me. I needed to be doing the games with Jerry. But now all of a sudden, Bill Walton's doing the games for, not a lot, a handful of games.
Yeah.
And I've got to make it work. And listen, I love Bill. This wasn't like Bill Walton coming in and stepping on Jerry, okay? Like, Bill was just, what am I going to say to Bill Walton, right? Like, Bill's a basketball god. Bill's Bill. There is no other Bill Walton on earth. Bill was, I don't even know how else to state it. And doing the games with Bill was such a incredible experience in that it was almost like a circus on TV. Does that make sense? Like, the Kings were terrible.
It's an unscripted circus.
Thank you very much. It is 2.5 hours of just rolling off your sleeve with just have fun, right? And I also took the approach that it's not my show, it's Bill's show. Like, Bill's the guy. I'm just going to steer him and let him go, right? And then I'm going to antagonize him. And with my New York personality, I'm going to be combative at times, but in a way to stimulate a great reaction. Right. So that's the approach that I took. So as fun as it was for me, I had very mixed emotions because Jerry wasn't next to me.
Yeah.
And I would have hated for them to do that to me where they said, hey, Grant, Marv Albert's coming in to do 15 games this year. You're not doing the games. Well, Marv's the best. Marv's maybe the greatest basketball announcer of all time, but it wouldn't have been the right thing to do. I mean, in all fairness, it wasn't the right thing to do to Jerry. When I think of the Sacramento Kings, and I mean this, the first thing I think of is Jerry Reynolds. Jerry, to me, is the Sacramento Kings. And looking back at that period of time, it was just wrong. Jim Gray should have never been part of the telecast. That was a joke.
No.
It was embarrassing. And Bill shouldn't have been, even though Bill is Bill. And Bill's an iconic figure, and everyone loves Bill, but it wasn't right. So I wanted to get that across because I have talked about this in the past, and those were crazy days, But working with Bill Walton on TV, like, I'm happy I had that experience. I'm happy that I've done probably 40 or 50 games with Bill or whatever it was. Because one thing you can say, it was entertaining and the team sucked and they were terrible, but you never knew you knew this, Ryan. You never knew what Bill was going to say. You just never knew.
Never, ever, ever. Yeah. But you listened.
Oh, boy. Yes, you did.
You never knew where it was going to go. I guess, were there ways then to... Did you and Jerry have any way to suggest other creative directions when it comes to Bill in the broadcast? Or was that just set in stone?
No. Bill was Bill. Bill, you knew what you were going to get with Bill. Bill was not going to do anything other than what Bill does. And when we did the 3-man booth, it became very apparent that Jerry was frustrated, and I understand. It was not fair to Jerry, and Jerry's too proud.
Yeah.
Jerry wasn't going to be part of that circus.
Yeah.
He wasn't. And he said, I'm not doing this. And I honor the heck out of Jerry for going, hey, you know what? I don't need this. It's not me, So
good for Jerry.
That's who Jerry is, and that's what he was all about. It was hard for me, though. I mean, it was. Well,
you guys are partners.
Exactly.
And
that's
you don't
exactly right.
want to betray. Yeah. You want to stick up for Jerry.
It's called loyalty.
Yes. And you have to be professional too. And there's that area in the middle. And then there's the side of it where you feel this ain't right.
No. Hey, speaking of professional, that's DAS Mechanical. They are so good when it comes to HVAC repairs and service. And with this warm weather already upon us, is that now kind of a prelude to what the summer is going to be like? Is your air conditioning unit ready for what may be a brutal summer? You should really check out dasmechanical.org. Have them come out to your home or business and make sure that your AC unit is running efficiently. Something else about DAS, and I really applaud them. They are donating a heating or air conditioning unit to an individual, a family in need, a veteran. And all you need to do is go to dasmechanical.org, click on the 2026 HVAC donation tab, fill out a quick form, nominate yourself or somebody you know, and maybe you or that individual will be getting heating or air conditioning unit installed from DAS Mechanical. DAS Mechanical, locally owned, family owned, serving Sacramento and Placer counties, HVAC service and repair specialist. They do new systems. They do it all. Check them out, dasmechanical.org. And make sure you check out all of their 5-star reviews and their numerous best of the best awards. That is DAS Mechanical. Man, I can't believe I'm already up and I'm going to have Grant's Rant here in a couple of months. How come time didn't go this fast when I was in history class or math class or like school in general? Like those hours used to seem like 10 hours. Here, I can't believe I'm already 2 hours in the books.
It's Bill with us because that's how it was.
Yeah.
When you were with Bill. We're getting stories on the text line about him.
Yeah, I know. It says, hey, Grant, I've got a pretty cool story about Bill. I go to San Diego every year. I'm a cyclist, so I'm on a bike ride. And look who's ahead of me on this giant steel, beautiful bicycle. It's Bill Walton. So I got to ride with him for a little while, maybe about 40 miles or so. The thing about Bill, he would invite people over to his house, give them the address, but he never told his wife. So people would show up at his house, and his wife would politely send them away. Bill was a very unique individual, a wonderful human being with great stories. That's Brian from Davis. He was a wonderful human being. He really was.
Yeah, and his wife, Lori, she was...
what a saint.
Amazing.
A saint.
Yeah.
A saint. A saint. Plain and simple. A saint. And getting to know Luke and spending time with Luke, what a great man. Great guy. Love Luke Walton. Love him. Just love. And the stories. I mean, the stories I've heard about Bill from Danny Ainge, from his days with the Celtics, from Luke being his son. As we celebrate college basketball today with the NCAA tournament, we celebrate Bill Walton and so many like Bill that really formed and continued the great foundation of college basketball in this country. Bill Walton, UCLA. Bill Walton, John Wooden. Bill Walton, basketball. They all go together. Grant's Rant coming up next. Hour number 3, straight ahead on Fox Sports Sacramento.
All right, Kings fans, quick timeout with your guy Rhino from the Grant Napear Show. Like me, if you're already watching every Reno screen every month 3, you might as well make it more interesting with Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports site in America, and it's simple. You pick 2 to 6 players and choose whether they'll go more or less on their stat line. That's it. No salary caps, no revolving lineups. Tonight, maybe it's DeMar DeRozan. Points, more. Maybe it's Dylan Cardwell. Rebounds, also more. Maybe you fade somebody on the other side, like me. Pro football, hoops, elite college action. The action never stops with Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code RHINO50 to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code RHINO, RYNO 50 to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Today's the day, the start of March Madness. Back to the days of the round of 64, wall-to-wall basketball chaos on every screen. Without question, one of the best stretches on the sports calendar. Other events have their case. Sunday at the Masters, college football on New Year's, NFL and Thanksgiving, all of them carry tradition and weight. But March Madness hits differently. No champion crowned today, no confetti, no legacy sealed, just survival. 40 minutes at a time and move on. That urgency is unmatched. These are not finished products. Young athletes chasing something special, something that's fleeting, knowing that the margin is razor thin, but that's where the magic lives.
the upsets will come. They always do. And that is the hook. Because for 2 days, every game feels like it matters more than it should. Win and move on. Lose and go home. It's simple. It's brutal. Rough. Exhilarating. Addicting. Madness. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. 2 words, prostate exam. Relax. Screening starts with a simple finger-free blood test. Around 1 in 8 men in the United States will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. Prostate cancer can have over a 99% 5-year relative survival rate when caught at a localized or regional stage. If you're 40 or over and have a prostate, visit relaxitsabloodtest.com to see if a PSA blood test is right for you. Talk to your doctor about screening and the next steps. Sponsored by Novartis. These days, everybody's searching for ways to save on insurance. Scrolling comparison sites, digging through tips, chasing deals, but Liberty Mutual makes it simple. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance to save you money. And when you bundle, those savings really come through. It's insurance built for real people with a team that goes above and beyond to help you keep more of what matters. No hunting, no hassle, just confidence that your coverage customized with savings in mind. Start your quote at libertymutual.com.
Grant's back. Join the conversation every weekday afternoon beginning at 3 p.m. KSAC 890 AM Oliver, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
It's time for Grant's Rant.
All right, Ryan, what do we have on this Thursday?
You know, I hate to do this, De'Aaron, but this is just a little too ironic. De'Aaron Fox was asked about the NCAA tournament and whether he would be watching. And here's what he had to say. And I'm going to paraphrase, but he cannot watch college basketball because of the skill level, the shot making, and the coach making are not at a professional level.
Okay, I'll rant on that. I agree with De'Aaron Fox. I think college basketball has gone way downhill. I can't talk about the coaching because there are great college coaches from the Tom Izzo's and the Rick Pitino's, and I can go right on down the list. The coaching in college basketball is not the issue. College basketball is a lot like the NBA. The game has deteriorated. The skill level is not what it used to be. The fundamentals are not what they used to. I have stopped watching college basketball pretty much in totality because I don't like the way the game is played. Now, I don't know if that's what De'Aaron was referring to, but I agree with De'Aaron. I think the game of basketball in America, it has to be improved. We always talk about the foreign players being more fundamentally sound. We talk about the European players coming in being more fundamentally sound. We talk about the three-point shooting. We talked about Duke earlier today. The game of basketball in America has dwindled from where it was to where it is now because of the three-point shot. And here's the other aspect of college basketball that I think I speak for a lot of people, and I've had this conversation with Jerry Reynolds. It's pretty much played the same. It's like every team plays the same. And the three-point shot has tarnished the game of basketball. It really has. I don't even think that's debatable anymore. It's changed the game of basketball. It's tarnished the game of basketball. And so as we celebrate basketball today on the best Thursday of the year, and I agree with Rhino that it is the best Thursday annually, it's not a thing of beauty anymore. Yeah, there are some exciting games. Yes, there are some thrilling games like the High Point, Wisconsin game because it has great drama and the games are close. But really, if you want to compare college basketball today to the way it was played 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 25, I mean, it doesn't compare in my opinion. That's just me. And so I'm with De'Aaron Fox on that. I'm not a fan of the way the game is played. I think it's poorly played. I think it's poorly executed. I think the fundamentals are lacking. And to me, college basketball is nowhere near what it used to be. Nowhere. Now, will I watch the tournament? Yeah, it's the tournament. But in this particular case, other than the coaching, I agree with De'Aaron Fox. That's my rant for today. Ryan, I have a feeling you're going to disagree with me.
Do you see the irony there? I mean, first off, it's an entire level below the NBA. Like the top 1% in college make it to the NBA.
Correct.
They're imitating what the guys do above them in
Correct.
the NBA.
And that's how they're schooled growing up in AAU and everything.
That's
too. That's
right.
how the game's played.
And if you're going to talk about college basketball being unwatchable, you need to acknowledge you have the same problem in the NBA.
Oh, I do acknowledge that, and I do talk about that.
It's like, oh, well,
but San Antonio's not in that group.
Shot making,
but San Antonio's not in that group, correct? I mean, you even mentioned that the other night. They're one of those teams. They're like Sacramento in the early 2000s when it was a thing of beauty. San Antonio is one of the teams in the NBA that I can watch. There are a lot of teams in the NBA, Ryan, that I can't watch.
I'm not going to put them like at that chemistry level of the Kings in 02-03, or in 01-02, but they are a team. They play like a team. They're watchable. Yes, I would agree there. But it's an NBA problem, too. It's not just a college basketball problem.
It's no. I disagree with you. It's a United States of America problem. It's a fundamental problem with the sport and how it's coached and how it's played from the youth level up to our professional level. It's the problem. It's not just a college problem. It's really a country problem. And the rest of the world has caught up with us, as evidenced by the Olympics, in which France almost beat the United States in the gold medal game.
Okay, so outside of your Wembys, your Giannis's, et cetera, that are just physically different. No, Luka is not physically different.
I thought you were talking about European players that are dominating the sport. Go ahead.
Okay, so outside of the guys that are just physically different freaks, is it because of fundamentals that European players are dominating? The world is dominating the NBA?
Yes, that's correct. It is because of fundamentals. It's because of the way the game is taught. It's because of the way the game is played there, in my opinion. Yes.
Max Reynaud?
There's another great example, second-round pick. I mean, the best players in the NBA right now are all foreign-born. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right?
The best player in the NBA might be the most unathletic player in the NBA.
Beg your pardon?
I said the best player in the NBA arguably could be in the group of the most unathletic players.
Are you talking about Luka?
I'm talking about Jokic.
Oh, Jokic. Well, what about Luka? He's not very athletic, relatively speaking.
Yeah, I would say he's a little bit more athletic than Jokic.
Okay, but what does Nikola and Luka do? What are they so good at?
Passing and floor vision.
Fundamentals, correct?
Creating space.
So we're looking at,
in Luka's case.
Yeah. Arguing is right at the top of the list. But and this is a great topic. When you think about the best players today in the NBA, they're not from this country. And they didn't grow up in this country playing basketball. They grew up overseas playing basketball.
Okay. SGA, Canada. I don't know. I don't know much about how basketball is taught in Canada.
I don't either. But I can just say it is not the United States. And clearly, all the players you just mentioned, Jokic, Doncic, Wembanyama, all from a different part of the world and dominating their respective, dominating the sport.
You know what I would love, and maybe you can ask Vlade, this is, in America, what's constantly being dangled in front of young athletes, especially now with college. It's the money, it's a scholarship, it's becoming a professional.
Sure.
I wonder if it's the same overseas. Like, what's the motivation? Is it just the love of the game and, it just so happens you are so good that you can now play at this level? Like, I wonder how that is talked about over there and coached.
It's a way of life. It is just like being born in Canada. You're going to play hockey for the most part. I've talked to Vlade about this. I've been to Serbia. I've been to Montenegro. I've been to that region of the world, the Eastern European countries. I haven't discussed this with a Frenchman, but it is part of the culture and the fabric of the culture. And if you look at Vlade and Peja, they were professional basketball players as teenagers.
Great point.
Over in that part of the world, meaning they were paid. It was their life. They were moving from home to go play basketball, and that was their life. And they did it at an earlier age than we have over here in America. Although if you want to equate to what's going on now in college with being paid, but we're talking about Vlade at 16 entering a professional rank, right? So like in 16, you're what, a sophomore or junior in high school.
Yeah.
But then we look at the quarterback for Folsom, who before he walked off campus at Folsom High School to start his career at BYU, already had millions of dollars in the bank from Under Armour and the amount of money that he was getting to go to BYU. I mean, it's just like a different world.
It's a very different world. It's an unregulated world.
But-
I remember when I was in high school. So we had two guys, DeMarcus Nelson. He was a little bit younger than me. He played at Sheldon, and he was a Duke recruit. He ended up going to Duke, and he didn't get money. Maybe he did under the table. I can't speak to that.
Yeah.
But what would happen is the team, whoever, I think it was Nike for Duke at the time, Nike sponsors the high school, right? So all the kids are getting the Nike gear, they're getting the Nike shoes, etc. We had the same thing happen with a guy at our school, Josh Davis, and I think it was Reebok. So it's funny how that changes and moves along. Now it's directly to the athlete, as you said in Ryder Lyons' case. It's a lot of money.
Okay, so are we seeing the same thing in baseball? When we look at Japan and we look at the Japanese players and we look at what just happened in the World Baseball Classic and we look at the players on the Dominican Republic and we look at Venezuela and we look at putting the ball in the play and we talk about, do they play the game in the Latin communities and over in Japan? Is the game taught differently? Is the game played differently, particularly in the youth level and the adolescent level, than it is here in America? Now, I can only tell you from stories, it is a way out of those countries.
Yeah, great point.
In Latin America and a lot of the countries that we're talking about, it is their ticket out of their country. It is their ticket to a life that is a quality life. That is their ticket. And at an early age, it's a ball and a glove. Right?
And is there as much infrastructure when it comes to specialized training over in those countries as there is here in America?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. Another one, Jamal Murray. I just wonder the world evolution of sport. We always used to think basketball, we're the supreme, we're the king, we're on the top of the mountain, which we still are, but by a whisker. Baseball, we're not anymore. It's been proven in the last two World Baseball Classics, Japan winning, Shohei Ohtani striking out Mike Trout to end the World Baseball Classic in 23. We just saw the pitching staffs of the Dominican and Venezuela completely stymie and for all intents and purposes shut down a lineup that was it was unthinkable to have shut down.
Well, how many of those?
And we just watched it.
Okay, how many of those players are on major league rosters?
A lot.
Okay.
A lot. But still, I mean, if I had told you at any point in your life that Venezuela would beat the United States in an international competition with the best players in the United States of America on the team, you would have said, no way.
It depends on the sport.
I'm talking about baseball.
I might
you would have said, no way. You wouldn't have said that. There's nobody that picked Venezuela to beat the United States when the tournament.
Well, first off, I don't pay attention to baseball like that, but I do know so many players come from Puerto Rico. So many players come from Venezuela. So many players come
very true.
from
very, very true.
All of those
very
different
true.
regions.
Very true. Well, but you wouldn't pick a all-star team of Frenchmen to beat an all-star team in the United States. If you put an all-star team of the U.S. and an all-star team of France, which basically, for all intents and purposes, we had in the Olympics, and the United States won, but you still wouldn't pick France to win.
No.
You wouldn't pick Venezuela to beat the United States, regardless of how many of the players on Venezuela are in Major League Baseball. You still wouldn't pick them to beat the United States. Nobody picked them.
Yeah. You know what? You're not wrong.
I mean, they were trailing going into the 7th inning against Italy 3-1. I mean, again, let's keep that in the perspective. They were losing in the semifinal game to Italy 3-1 going into the 7th inning. Now, they won the game, but nobody was picking Venezuela when the WBC began to be standing on the mountaintop of baseball. Most people had Japan and the United States, right? Most people thought the Dominican Republic had an unbeatable roster. Well,
is it really the mountaintop of baseball, though? Is the
I think it is.
WBC that
I
important?
think it is.
What about isn't baseball in the Olympics? Wouldn't that be?
Did you, whoa. Did you watch the WBC?
I watched portions of it.
Okay. Did you watch the reactions of the Dominican players, in particular, the players that were representing the country of Venezuela? Yeah, it is the mountaintop. Absolutely. Okay. I think it's even more so than the Olympics for the very basic reason. When are the Summer Olympics played? In the middle of baseball season.
Yeah. I thought you guys you and maybe it was Mac yesterday, an excellent point that the WBC should be played during what is the All-Star break.
Yeah, John Smoltz said this of Fox. I think he was the first one to comment on that. And if you could take off 10 days to 2 weeks and have it in the middle of the summer, it would be good for everyone involved in the sport. It would give the players that are not on those rosters extra time in a very long 162-game season. It would allow you to reset everything. And I think the interest would be so much more significant. And here's the other thing. That scene in Miami for the games against the Dominican Republic and Venezuela, the atmosphere there is as good as any baseball atmosphere I've ever seen. Now, you could say, well, is that fair to the Team USA? Because it was, all basically a road game in the semis and in the finals. Maybe you could go that route, but it was so good for the sport of baseball. When you ask me, what does it mean? All you have to do is go back and watch the United States play the Dominican Republic and go back and watch the Venezuela USA team from 2 nights ago. And that tells you all you need to know about what that means. When you see the players from Venezuela crying when their national anthem is played with their gold medals around their neck, that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah. Don't forget about the atmosphere in Japan for the games played over there.
Unbelievable. And I will tell you that Brian Knight, who we had on this show a couple of weeks ago, who just retired as a major league umpire, he's done 3 World Baseball Classics, including the inaugural run in 2006. But I'll never forget when Brian was over in Seoul for the World Baseball Classic. I want to say it was the I can't remember the exact year, but he worked the games in Seoul. And I was asking him, I'm like, what? He said, you wouldn't believe it. I'm like, really? He goes, I'm just telling you, you would not believe the atmosphere over there because I didn't watch the games. And he was like, I'm just telling you, it was unbelievable. He goes, it was hard to explain.
I've seen I don't know what the league is over there, but it's very, very popular in Japan. The league that they run.
Gosh. Baseball in Japan is huge.
Did you ever watch Mr. Baseball? I always thought that was a good underrated movie.
Yeah.
With Tom Selleck. Yeah. Where he goes to Japan.
But just so you know, baseball in Japan, if you go to Tokyo, if you go to Japan and go to any of their games, which I have not done, I've only watched. I mean, it's huge. And the rituals involving their sport and the customs over there, it's incredible over there. It's incredible. Incredible. All right, we'll take the time out. More on this. We'll update you when we come back on the men's tournament. A 12 seed already has advanced. High Point beating Wisconsin. Several games going on, including Texas, BYU, Michigan, Howard, and North Carolina and VCU. All going on, including A&M and St. Mary's. We'll take the break right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
You've been saying you're going to pay better attention to your home's honeydews. Check one off your list right now by calling Gabrud Services to schedule a 12-point inspection of your home's electrical system. The safe rule of thumb is every 5 years for an inspection. If it's been 5 years or more, call Gabrud's now. A qualified technician will provide a thorough inspection of the electrical system to ensure it's safe or alert you to potential problems. At Gabrud's, electrical work is all we do. We are the area's recognized experts for anything electrical, and our number one priority is ensuring your home and family are safe. You've been saying you'll pay better attention to your home. Stop saying it. Make the call to Gabrud's. Talk with a real person and schedule your 12-point inspection today. Gabrud's, locally owned for more than 30 years. G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabrud's. G-U-B-R-U-D-S. Gabrud's.com.
Hey, folks, are you or do you know a veteran or family in need of a heating or air conditioning unit? I've got awesome news because DAS Mechanical is giving back by donating one to a veteran or family in need. Owner Nick Delancey and his family, hey, they're always looking to give back to the community, and they're excited to help out a veteran or family in need. Just go to dasmechanical.org and nominate yourself or, hey, someone you know to receive one. And yes, it comes with installation. It's very simple to enter. Go to dasmechanical.org, click the 2026 HVAC system donation tab. Fill out a very short 6-question nomination form. Nominate now at dasmechanical.org. DAS Mechanical, family owned, locally owned, HVAC experts serving Sacramento for years. For all of your HVAC needs, DAS will exceed your expectations. Once again, that's dasmechanical.org.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll even come and pick up your car for free. And all you've got to do is pick up your phone right now and make a free call. Now is the perfect time to do something good for the vets. Give back to the vets right now for all they've done for this country. And your old car can really help them. So call the Veterans Car Donation Program right now for free pickup of your vehicle. Help the vets and help your taxes at the same time. Call right now.
800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. That's 800-598-0539.
I don't know if you've been following this Texas BYU game. 39-32 with 2 minutes left to go in the first. And we talk about AJ DeBansa.
Yeah.
He's got 18 of BYU's 32 points. He's gone to the line 6 times. He's made them all. He's 6 of 12. He has turned the ball over 3 times. He has no assist. But, boy, he's got some skills. I don't know if you've been watching the game.
Yeah, I'm watching
32.
it. I'm watching it. Texas's game plan is let him do all the scoring and don't let anybody else.
It's working right now. They're up 39-32. You know?
Yes, it is. In Texas, they're now in their third time zone in 48 hours. They were in the first 4. So... So this is interesting. Lynn says, Grant, the WBC ratings for the final game were 10.8 million, up 128% from USA versus Japan final of 2023. Here are the top 5 cities per the ratings. Kansas City had the highest rating. Second, Philadelphia. Third, St. Louis. Fourth, Milwaukee. And 5th, Tulsa.
Really?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Interesting, right?
Yeah. Huh. Okay. I don't even know what to say to that. Tulsa,
Oklahoma.
Wow. Well, I'm not surprised about the ratings at all. At all, I'm not surprised. I mean, why would I be? You know? Why would I be? That was a great spectacle. How about Howard giving Michigan all they can handle at the half? They're only down 4, 16 versus a 1. It is 50-46 Michigan. North Carolina, halfway through the second half, they lead VCU 61-47. Texas leads 42-34. Now DeBanza has 20 of the 34 points. It's now 43-34 Texas over BYU. And St. Mary's in a hole early with the final seconds of the first half. They are down 37-26 to Texas A&M. They're going to have to play a lot better in this second half.
Yeah, BYU is not, I mean, other than DeBanza, BYU is not looking great. Defensively, they are struggling with Texas' size.
They are really struggling. Yeah, 43-34. That is an 8 versus an 11. St. Mary's is a 7, taking on A&M a 10, and they're also having some matchup issues in that game
It's
as
a
well.
6 and 11.
A 6 and 11. I'm sorry,
Texas.
That's what happens when you get old and your eyes go.
I think you made the point of the day. The separation with talent, it's not that great
Slim.
as the rankings or however you want to say it, the seeds that the teams are. It really, size is the big difference with many of the seeds.
Yeah, absolutely. 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. By the way, in that Lakers game, Luka is playing, Reeves is playing, and LeBron is playing in the back-to-back in Miami. Who's not playing tonight for the Kings? Nick Clifford is out. Malik Monk is available to play. Unfortunate that Nick has got a sore hamstring.
Yep. You know what's making the biggest difference with the Lakers right now? LeBron is accepting being the third option.
Great point. They had 30 points last night on 13 of 14 from the field.
He played great.
He's 41.
I know, but it's taking that step back and realizing what is my best role for the team. And it's something that DeAndre Ayton recently said. It's like, I'm not supposed to be this. This is what I need to be. It's what they brought me in to do. But for a player the caliber of LeBron, you rarely see that. And I mean, if LeBron continues to play that role and he lets things roll through Luka and Austin Reeves, does your stance on the Lakers change all that much? Because I look at their net rating and it's still only 1.5.
I don't think they could beat San Antonio or Oklahoma City in a playoff series.
Do they look like?
I don't see it.
Do they look like they're in championship shape, like JJ Redick asked for?
I don't know if I would ever say that when I watch Luka play, but they are playing very well. They have won 9 of 10, and they beat some very good teams along the way. I can't fault them for that.
His jaw's in championship shape.
Oh boy,
I'll tell you that much.
I know it's just crazy, isn't it?
When I hear LA fan start to get worn down with it, then
oh boy,
it's starting to get bad.
That's a great point. Great point. So VJ Edgecombe tonight, he's the guy that I am curious to see because I've watched him play in bits and pieces, but I'll focus in on him tonight. He's been a really good selection for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Oh, yeah. He's exciting, but his whole thing is being that second, third option, right? When they have everybody healthy, when Embiid's on the floor, Maxi's on the floor, when you ask him to be that first option, he's still kind of learning what that looks like, but he's a tremendous player. Tremendous.
Keon Ellis, the first player off the bench for the Cleveland Cavaliers again. Shocking, huh? That he's now the leader of the bench. He's the guy that comes in for Kenny Atkinson's Cavaliers, and he's also started some games. Not good enough to play for Sacramento.
Yeah, that didn't take long. I mean, he was like the third guy off the bench.
You know why it didn't take long? Because they know what they're doing in Cleveland. That's why it didn't take long.
I mean,
that's why. Let's just cut to the chase. The reason why it didn't take long is because that's an organization that understands what they're doing with their personnel. That's why it didn't take long.
What's the food that chefs say you can't screw up? Like you just, it's impossible to screw up. Keon Ellis is the player.
Yeah.
That it's impossible to screw that up. He just does the right things.
It's hard to screw up pasta, isn't it? You just boil it and then it's good to go.
It depends how you're cooking the pasta. because if you're gonna
Chef Boyardee.
Chef Boyardee, come on now,
Well,
give me a little more.
You're the expert on
than
pasta,
that.
and I'm thinking Chef Boyardee.
Well,
I'm thinking about all the pasta
I
that Chef.
actually, if you said you have to make a dinner from a certain cuisine,
Yeah.
Italian's my wheelhouse.
Really?
My bruschetta will knock your socks
I love
off.
bruschetta. Bruschetta is one of my
Knock 'em
favorites. I love bruschetta.
And my
And
pastas.
I'm a basic guy. I'm a spaghetti bolognese guy. I love it.
Yeah, I could make you a good meat sauce meatball.
I
But
love it.
yeah, if you're gonna bake the pasta, if you're gonna let the pasta marinate a little bit in the
Yeah.
sauce, then you want to cook it al dente. You don't want to cook
Okay.
it to its full softness because then it's gonna get,
Okay. So what makes
Yeah.
your bruschetta so good?
Yeah, you think I'm gonna give my secret out?
Well, I'm just asking,
Okay.
why is your bruschetta different than the bruschetta that I get over in Italy?
The bruschetta that I make, I have one secret ingredient.
Okay.
It's in the mix that not a
Okay.
lot of people put in it, but the real
It's a secret.
the
Ooh.
banger that puts it over the top is the cheese that
Oh.
I melt on top
Oh.
of the bread for the
Okay.
bruschetta. It's a cheese that just it elevates the bruschetta to a different level.
I love bruschetta. I love it. And since you have never been out of the country other than the borders of America, you've never been to Italy, you don't have any idea about the Italian food, even though you think you do. If you go
No.
to Italy,
Yeah.
you won't believe it. Like, it's just, oh my gosh.
Well,
Wow.
it's fresh made pasta everywhere
It's
you go, right?
it's so unbelievable. Yeah. So unbelievable.
Isn't pizza completely different over there? Like if
It is a lot different. Yeah, it is. And it is so freaking delicious. It is a little different, yes, but it's like so good. Everything over there, the lasagnas, and I mean, it's unbelievable. It's incredible.
If you're in Italy and you like get tired of Italian food, is there other options?
Oh, yeah,
as
yeah.
well? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
sure. Absolutely. There are other options, but why would you get tired of it? There's so many choices.
Well, I mean, Italian
After
food.
I've gained 15 pounds in a week.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say it could be a little rich,
Yeah.
especially
They have great salads, like their all their different salads. It's so good.
I love a good caprese salad.
Oh,
Ooh,
God, me too.
so good.
That's how you pronounce it, caprese, yeah? Not caprese?
Caprese.
Caprese. I love that. I'm a big fan of that salad. Love it. That's my go. That's probably my favorite when I'm in Italy.
Do you like the one where the tomato is sliced and then you get a slice of the buff moz on top, or do you like
I like
the
it
little?
sliced.
Okay.
I like it sliced.
Yeah.
Yep.
Me too.
Yep. It's the best. Love it. It's great. Yeah. One of these days, you'll when you start traveling abroad, you go to Italy, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, when I at some point travel and come see you, when you like to tour, maybe we'll plan
Yeah.
a trip, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And-
We'll you come wherever I'm at around
Yep.
the world. You come hang out with me when I go on whatever, and you'll meet me, and I'll show you. Spain, the gazpacho soup to die for. We can go, and you want to go to Japan, check out their great Japanese food, their sushis and everything else.
Mhm.
Phenomenal. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
I will make my bruschetta for you.
We'll go to Thailand. You get the papaya salad and
Oh.
the fresh mango on the street, which is like
Grant, you've
candy in your mouth.
You've kind of changed my life the last couple of weeks because I started only doing fruit if I
Yes.
eat anything at all in the morning.
Uh-huh.
I love it. It starts your day off the right way.
I love it too. Love it.
Contrast to that with a nice cup of coffee.
Never had a cup of coffee.
And see, now you're at that point where it's like, why would I try a cup of coffee?
Yeah, I mean, I'm past that.
Yeah.
I'm past. I can't do it. It's too late.
It just feels like when we get into these conversations, I learn something new that you've never had. You've never done coffee. There was
No.
something recently that you said you had never had either.
Yeah, I can't remember. But
I
now
think
coffee.
it was fairly normal too.
Yes, correct.
Gelato in Italy, yes, gelato.
Yeah,
is
I love
very
gelato
good.
in Italy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I watched this, and I'm not a big one for the award shows, right? But I watched a thing on YouTube where Wolfgang Puck
Yeah.
coordinates the after party for the Oscars.
Yep.
And he flies in chefs from all over the world, and
How
they
about that?
showed the behind the scenes of the stuff that they were making and serving that night. It was insane.
I can't even imagine. Can't imagine. I cannot even imagine. 916-779-0929. We can do a travel segment here when we wrap up the show when we come back. Best food outside of America for our final travel segment. And we'll also talk a little Kings and Sixers. So we'll do that in just a couple of moments. Village Financial Group. I've talked about them for months on this radio show and the ever-changing housing market, which is so contingent a lot on where interest rates are. You know, a lot of people have great interest rates on their mortgages, and they're like, nah, but they're doing home equity line of credits. And if you're one that is looking to take the equity out of your home and put it to whatever use you may have, Spence is outstanding in that aspect of real estate as well. Whether it's buying a home, selling a home equity line of credit, a man that's got a lot of experience. And the Village Financial Group, it's like a white glove service, a boutique service shop from the start to the finish. He'll take you right there. He is a very creative financing specialist. He has access to private money, and he will do a phenomenal job for you. I've known the man since he began his family-owned business in 2000. You can check everything out at vfgloans.com. That's vfgloans.com. Or you can call or text Spence at 916-805-4868. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. Let's do that when we come back. We'll talk a little King Sixers, but outside of America, what's the best food you've ever had? Like if I told you you could only have one meal the rest of your life, but it can't be in this country. It has to be abroad, which is going to limit Ryan's participation in this segment. What would it be? We'll do that when we come back right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
It's the All Things Legal Show, heard every Saturday morning from 8 to 9. Join your host, Craig Ashton, with an entertaining and eclectic view of all things legal. Saturday mornings from 8 to 9. Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Downtown Ford Sacramento welcomes you with literally acres of new and Ford certified pre-owned vehicles on site. You can start planning a road trip up into the snow now because Downtown Ford has the vehicles to get you there. And our top-notch service team will keep it running perfectly as long as you own it. Cars, trucks, SUVs, and fleet vehicles. Downtown Ford Sacramento. Open daily on Howe Avenue next to the How About Arden Shopping Center.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
You've been saying you're going to pay better attention to your home's honeydews. Check one off your list right now by calling Gabrud Services to schedule a 12-point inspection of your home's electrical system. The safe rule of thumb is every 5 years for an inspection. If it's been 5 years or more, call Gabrud's now. A qualified technician will provide a thorough inspection of the electrical system to ensure it's safe or alert you to potential problems. At Gabrud's, electrical work is all we do. We are the area's recognized experts for anything electrical, and our number one priority is ensuring your home and family are safe. You've been saying you'll pay better attention to your home. Stop saying it. Make the call to Gabrud's. Talk with a real person and schedule your 12-point inspection today. Gabrud's, locally owned for more than 30 years. Gubrud's.
Call the good dudes at Gabrud's. Gubrud's. Gabrud's.com.
My retired friends are going back to work. I'm worried Social Security won't be enough. BenefitsCheckup.org connected me to $1,000 a month for food and medicine. It's free. Visit BenefitsCheckup.org today.
Supported by the U.S. Administration for Community Living.
Final segment on this Thursday. A couple of messages on the text line. Fresh fish tacos and ceviche overlooking the Seas of Cortez in San Felipe in the Baja. Doesn't sound bad. 916 Rome, Italy. Fresh baked lasagna. Sounds good to me. Got to go to Italy, Rhino. That's something you got to put on your bucket list. Got to do it. You got to do it. You got to go to start up north in Milan, then go from Milan on the train to Venice, then go down the country to Florence.
Mm-hmm.
Then you want to go to Rome, and then from there cut over to the Amalfi Coast, and you want to go to Positano. You want to go to Amalfi. You want to go and do all of that. You want to go to Cyprus. You got to do it. It's phenomenal. Now, I have not been in the boot. I have not been to Sicily. I want to do it. But the areas that I just mentioned are unbelievable.
Italy is at the top of my list.
You will absolutely fall in love with it. It's a great country.
I might not come back.
Well, I would say that there is a very good chance that you won't come back if you go over there. That's correct. And then you might be figuring out how you can get an Italian passport, which I hope doesn't take as long as it took you to get a U.S. passport.
Well, I still haven't got one yet. We have the pictures. So got a couple weeks to go.
Hey, how about that Howard-Michigan game? It's a 2-point game, a 16 against a 1. Meanwhile, North Carolina is 9 better than VCU with 4.5 left. And boy, you look at the Texas BYU score at the half, 46-37, and at the half, A&M leading St. Mary's 37-26. Do you think the Kings are going to win tonight? Is that correct?
Yeah, I think they will. I like the way that they've been playing. I think Precious is going to have a really good night tonight. I would expect Malik to play very well. Question becomes, how much tick is Doug going to give Russell Westbrook now that you have Killian Hayes, who's put together 2 really good games in a row?
And DeMar DeRozan.
The Kings last game were just completely taken out of whatever they wanted to do. They could not get to a single spot that they normally get to and took what San Antonio gave them. I think tonight will be a little bit different.
Speaking of tonight, we'll be on right after the contest over on YouTube and X. If you don't like that, Jerry Reynolds, Ryan Sacktown, and myself, we're looking forward to that, the post-game show tonight after the Philadelphia 76ers game. You know, something else I haven't really touched on today, and I'm going to reach out and see if I can get Mike Pereira on. You know that the NFL officials' contract expires in May, and the league is already putting into place a contingency plan
I saw that,
with backup officials? What a disaster that would be.
Yeah, I've seen some of the stuff on social, but people reacting to like high school and college officials being trained. How did that work out last time, Packers fan?
Thank you. Yeah, right? Oh, boy.
Not so good.
Oh, boy. All right, so we're doing a travel segment here in addition to everything else. So you want to go to Japan, and you want to go to Italy. Those are your two top ones, right?
Yes. Japan. Japan would be probably second or third for me, but it's first for everybody else in my family, and they come first. So Japan, 1, 2, Italy.
All right. Best German food, someone said a Bavarian bratwurst sandwich. All right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what else. I don't know what that word is after that. Do you know what that says on our studio text line?
No, and I'm not even going to try.
Me neither. I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to try. Not even going to go there. Yeah, bratwurst in Germany, pretty special. Done that. Fondue in Switzerland, up in the Alps.
Interesting.
Pretty spectacular.
Choice.
Huh?
Interesting choice, fondue.
Yeah, fondue in Switzerland is pretty amazing, and it's very, very, very popular over there. And it wouldn't be my last meal, but it's pretty freaking good. It is pretty good, pretty darn good. Wouldn't be my last meal, but it's definitely on my list of something I would do for sure.
Okay, I've done it once, not in Switzerland.
No,
obviously.
No, you got to have the Swiss chocolate for dessert too. Got to have that. It's unbelievable. All right, so then now we're going to go from Italy, and we're going to go to Switzerland. Then we're going to go over to Italy. And you're going to do some bruschetta. We're going to go get some outstanding bruschetta, and then we're going to compare it to yours.
Okay.
All right.
I'm in. You'll like mine better, but go ahead.
I might. We're going to try some of their lasagna. All right. We're going to try some of their pasta dishes with bolognese. We're going to try, obviously, different pizzas. We're not doing this all in one setting. We're going to mix it up over a couple of days. But those are some of the things that we're going to try over there.
Yeah, throw in a good fruta de mare, where you get the classic coastal seafood and a nice spicy red sauce and a linguine.
Okay. How spicy?
Not too spicy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
Okay.
It's not like Thai spicy.
Oh my God.
Where you got to watch this.
You need a fire extinguisher. Like when you tongue burns and your lips burn and you start tearing up, and that's too spicy for me.
Yeah, it ruins the meal. Right?
I can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it. But a lot of the Thai people, they love that. And they're like, they go, ped, mak ped. Or ped mak. I mean, it's very spicy.
So
ped mak.
So my in-laws, that entire side, they're Hispanic, and it is very common when you are eating your tacos or whatever, they will have a whole pepper on the side that they're taking a bite out of.
Yeah.
And,
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Absolutely.
All right, best Mexican dish that you're trying. What's the number one Mexican dish?
It's going to be a really, really good chili relleno.
Okay.
I love chili rellenos.
All right. Don't laugh at me. Give me a steak quesadilla in Mexico. Love it.
That doesn't cost $21?
That's correct. Absolutely. I love that. And I love hard shell tacos. I don't like the tortilla tacos. Give me the hard shell tacos in Mexico, which I love. I can definitely do that. And give me a steak quesadilla.
Okay. I would like a nice shrimp ceviche as well, or shrimp cocktail on the side.
Right.
But yeah, there's so many great things with Mexican food. Like you can do torta al gata. Those are really good. Just even the carne asada tacos. Straight up.
I love the carne asada tacos, but I have to have hard shell tacos.
Have you ever had marinated chicharrones or chicharrones? I think
Have not.
called.
I don't even know what it is.
So it is. It's the pork. I want to say the pork skin, but there's still some meat in there, and then you fry it, and then they marinate it in a sauce so they get a little bit softer. Oh, it's watch out. So I'll have a side of those too.
North Carolina now has only a 2-point lead over VCU. It is 72-70. VCU outscoring North Carolina by 9. Now North Carolina scored to make it 74-70. So keep your eye on that one. All right. So if we go over to Japan, sushi, yes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So we'll do that. I have not been to Seoul, but maybe we'll stop there. If not, then we'll go to Thailand. You're going to do a papaya salad?
Papaya salad. Give me a really good pad thai without fish sauce.
Okay.
Make sure
Pad
there's some
thai.
crispy
Pad
tofu.
thai with shrimp?
Yeah, you can throw some
Okay.
shrimp in there, and then
Okay.
I'm going to get a banh mi at some point as well.
Okay. All
How
right.
about you?
I'm probably going to do either pad thai with shrimp or a papaya salad with shrimp. My ped, no spicy.
My ped.
So I'm probably doing that, and then I'm going to probably go get the fried pork on a stick, which is unfreaking believable over there. And then I'm going to stop on the street, and I'm going to get myself some fresh pomegranate juice for $1.75. It is so unbelievably good. Then I'm going to stop, and on one of the blocks everywhere, I'm going to get some fresh mango.
Yep.
Cut up in front of me, some fresh watermelon cut up in front of me, some fresh papaya cut up in front of me, and that's going to be my breakfast the next morning. That's what I'm doing.
I'll skip the watermelon, but I'm in for everything else.
Okay. All right. It's unbelievable. It's incredible. So,
What are we leaving out? Ireland? What are we doing in Ireland?
I've never been to Ireland, so I don't know. We're golfing.
Okay.
We're golfing, but I have not been to Ireland, and I want to go to Ireland.
Germany?
Bratwurst.
Okay. I love German potato salad, by the way.
I like potato salad too, now that I think about it.
When we were in Green Bay, there is, you've probably heard it on Rome's show, a very famous German bar out there called the Lorelei Inn. And we spent a night there, and I had one of the best German meals I've ever had.
Really?
It was like an array of different bratwurst, the German potato salad, the mustard with the mustard seed still in it. Oh, man. Killer.
I think we have some traveling we got to do.
Yeah. If only somebody gets their passport.
Yeah. Right now, it's not a great time to do international travel because of the world events, and it's expensive. And the whole, you think about the stoppage in air traffic with Emirates and Qatar and Etihad, and that, the amount of destinations they go to, and those are all big hubs. And it's just right now, traveling internationally has got some headaches associated with it.
Grant, what's the fascination with caviar?
I don't know. I've only had it once, and I didn't really care for it.
Because if I watch the travel videos of the people traveling on those airlines, it's standard. You're getting caviar.
You get on Emirates first class, which I have not done. I hear that they serve the caviar, and I hear that it is like people don't ever pass it up. I would pass it up. I would say no, thank you. But I've had friends that have never had caviar before that have tried, and they go, "Oh my gosh, it's so good." I don't know if I could do it or not.
It all depends on the flavor profile. Because I am somebody, and this is the most ironic, whatever you want to call it, conundrum. I like seafood. I just don't like stuff that's super fishy. If it has it, and I think the really fishy stuff comes from more of the fat and the oil. If it's a fattier fish, but
maybe.
If caviar's fishy, count me out.
Here's one for you. Rano, you got to give watermelon a try in other countries. It's hard to find the perfect watermelon in the U.S. I would agree with that. I find that when I travel abroad, the watermelon is so much better. And I will tell you, when I go to Southeast Asia and they cut it up in front of you on the street, it is absolutely unbelievable.
All right.
It's incredible.
Fair enough. I will do that.
It's an everyday deal for me.
Have you ever, Dorian wants to know if you've ever had a sope.
A what?
A sope.
No.
It's some type of, Dorian, isn't some type of Mexican sandwich, I want to say? Sope.
Somebody wants to know if I've ever had the schnitzel when in Germany. Yes, love it. It's great. Phenomenal.
Schnitzel.
The Wiener Schnitzel. Yeah.
Schnitzel is the fried pork, right?
It's like a hot dog. Yeah. Wiener Schnitzel.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure how they prepare it because it's been a long time since I've had it. But yeah, all of these things. Now I'm hungry.
I know. I'm starving.
Oh, my gosh.
And I get to go to the press room.
Good luck. So you'll be joining
Fill
us
up
on the post-game
popcorn.
show from the arena, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to head
All right,
over there.
try to turn your mic on tonight, okay?
Hey, you know what? It's my headphones.
Huh?
I don't know what's going on with the headphones. I'm having issues with my AirPods. So we'll hopefully get
I thought
that
you were trying to
rectified.
act like Grant Napear from his Open Forum podcast the other night, where he went on for 2 minutes without his mic being on. Thank goodness for the viewers on the chat line that are telling me, Napes, wake up and turn your mic on, please.
Yeah. Good job. Good job, y'all. See, that used to be my problem sometimes on the King's courts. I wouldn't be looking at the chat during the Open, and the mic would be muted. And I'd just be like, oh.
We might have some fantastic finishes here in this hour of games. 56 seconds left. North Carolina is holding on over VCU, now down to 30 seconds, 75-72. BYU's making a run, 2.5 into the second half, and it is 48-44 Texas. It does not look good for St. Mary's, though. They're getting blown out 42-26 in the second half of that game. So they're going to need a fast and furious comeback, or they are going to be one and done. I took St. Mary's in this bracket. Did you too?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Here's my rule when it comes to the upsets.
Yep.
And the lower seeds. I think if they're within a couple points at halftime, it is much better than being up like 10-15.
I agree,
at halftime.
100%.
Because you
Totally
know
agree.
that run's coming if they're
Totally
up
agree.
too many.
Michigan now has extended their lead over Howard to 10 after it was a 2-point game early second half. It is 68-58 Michigan. And again, the North Carolina VCU game is within a possession with 31 seconds left. 75-73 with another free throw coming for VCU. Again, Texas with 17.5 left lead BYU 48-44. DeBansa has 20 of BYU's 44 points. Wow. Can't believe the show's over already. That's a fast 3 hours. Appreciate all of you. Post-game show tonight on YouTube and X, Kings and the Sixers. Appreciate all of you for your support. Good feedback today. Love the text messages and the conversation. Enjoy the tournament, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow again at 3 o'clock. For Rhino in Sacktown, I'm Grant Napear saying so long and thanks for listening to Fox Sports Sacramento. Bye-bye now.